Warm greetings from the high 10. It is Everyday Shenanigans. Thanks for joining me. Amen. Amen. The Queen is feeling mighty fine this evening. Mighty fine. Justice finally came home for George Floyd. Amen. Derek Chauvin, ex-cop, the Minneapolis Police Department, was found guilty today on all 3 counts of murder and the death of George Floyd. Amen. I will also be bringing other updates pertaining to news stories that I've brought to you on this channel in recent days, weeks, months, and past year. Amen. Thanks for joining me. Feel free to hit the link once I get done with giving a brief information with a source to the commentary pertaining to the title of the video. I will be bringing you information pertaining to Derek Chauvin, the guilty verdict found today in Minneapolis, Minnesota, update on Fort Hood, Vanessa Gillian, the young boy who was shot at Austin East High School in Knoxville, Tennessee. I will bring you information pertaining to that storyline as well. And how interesting today, one of the mods, Miss Crystal, told me, today is Adolf Hitler's birthday. Isn't that interesting? My. And also today is the anniversary of the shooting at Columbine High School that took place many years ago. So much mischief and mayhem going on in the world. People have lost their way. But today, 12 members of a jury said, we're going to right the wrong for the death of George Floyd. Amen. God bless all 12 of you. If I could shake your hand, I surely would. Lord have mercy. God is good all the time. All the time good. Thank you all for joining me. Hello, Alden. How you doing? Hello, Tina. Hello, Aquarius 63. Hit the like button coming in, everybody. Share, please. Thank you. Amen. Thank you all for joining me. It's been a long day for the Queen. I am surely tired, but I was glad to get this information. I was so busy doing some things at the time. I was waiting on the verdict. I had to keep doing what I was doing because I would have never got done. I didn't even get as much as I wanted, but I didn't get to watch the actual reaction at that time when the 12 members gave their verdict. But nonetheless, I got the news later on tonight, and I am so happy. Thank you, Crystal, for letting me know what happened. I'm so happy. I'm thrilled. I'm elated. Every word you can think of that's positive. That is how I feel tonight. I feel vainglorious in the guilty conviction of Derek Chauvin. And I pray I never hear his nasty name again. Ever. Not now, not never. I will be bringing you information pertaining to the trial, a description of the counts that he was found guilty of, all 3. I will also give you the sentences per charge with a source. Thank you all for joining me. Hello, Edward. How you doing? Well, Edward, we say that all the time when terrible things happen. Heal, heal, heal. But you can't heal anything that's broke. You see, you can only really take care of yourself. Heal thyself. But you can't heal other people. Because if you're broken inside and you don't want any help, then you can't be healed. Because as Dr. Phil once said, you can't change what you don't acknowledge. So if you don't think you have a damn problem, then there's nothing to heal. There's nothing to fix. And as I said before, Black folks was freed 1865, December. late in the year. But yet we were never free. And it's now 2021 and we're still not free. Because as they say, sometimes free ain't really free. Amen. You see, there's always a price for freedom. Always has been, always will be. So the fact that African Americans are free in this country doesn't really mean anything. George Floyd was free for a short while. And look where it got him. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and bring you said information. Got 23 watching. God bless. I love you. Thank you very much. I want to thank the 12 members of the jury, Minneapolis, Minnesota. God bless every single one of you. I pray that your journey will be stress-free from here on out. And I pray for Floyd's children, family, the community there, the community in America, all lives, because we are in treacherous times right now, being a Black person in this country. And like I said, free ain't really free. So I say this to anybody Black, please watch your steps. Watch your tongue, watch where you tread, watch the company you keep. And if you ever pulled over by the police for any reason, do exactly what they tell you to do. Don't talk back, don't say nothing, don't flinch, don't reach for nothing. Do as you're told. So you can see the end of the day. Just do as you're told, because it's not worth getting knee to the neck. Whatever the situation may arise, whether you're doing something, not doing something, told to do something, you don't want the journey that Mr. Floyd took. I'm going to bring you all said information. By CBS 4 News, Minnesota. Derek Chauvin guilty on all 3 counts in George Floyd's death. Following nearly a year protest, introspection, raw emotion, former Minneapolis officer Derek Chauvin, who last May held a knee down on George Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes, has been found guilty of second-degree murder and 2 other charges in Floyd's death. Chauvin has been remanded to the custody of Hennepin County. He was led out of the courtroom in handcuffs. The Minnesota Department of Corrections says Chauvin was booked into Minnesota Correctional Facility, Oak Park Heights, just before 5 p.m. as part of an agreement with the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office. According to a pool report, oh mercy, sorry, jumped off. This happens every time I try to bring stories. Hold on. Sorry about that. According to a pool report, George Floyd's brother, Floyd'S Floyd, was praying in the courtroom before the verdict was read. I was just praying they would find him guilty. He said after the conviction, as an African American, we usually never get justice. Hold on once. This is acting up. I don't know what's going on. And the devil is busy. Don't want me to read it. Okay. Chauvin found guilty on all charges, excuse me. We're just next door from the Floyd family and their attorneys. We could hear screams of joy through the wall as the verdict was read. Hashtag Chauvin trial. Hashtag WCCO. Hashtag Minneapolis. Hashtag George Floyd. This was by Heron. I don't know what's going on with this article. This is really weird. It will not upload for some reason. Sorry about this. I can't get it out. Family members of George Floyd, along with attorney Ben Crump and Reverend Al Sharpton, held a. Oh man, come on now. This is creepy. This article will not stay still for some reason. This is odd. I don't know what's going on. Hey everybody. This is crazy. Okay, I'm going to start again. See if it'll stay still. Family members of George Floyd, along with attorney Ben Crump and Reverend Al Sharpton, held a press conference about an hour after the verdict was read. Sharpton first led a prayer with the family. Let's lean into this moment and let's make sure that this moment will be documented for our children as they continue on the journey to justice, knowing that the blood of George Floyd will give them a trail to find a way to a better America, Crump said. The verdict was read in Hennepin County Court just after 4 p.m. Tuesday. In addition to the second-degree murder conviction, the jury found Chauvin guilty of third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. In a statement, Governor Tim Walz called Chauvin's conviction an important step forward for justice in Minnesota. Governor Tim Walz on Chauvin's guilty verdict. It's an important step towards justice in Minnesota. This is the floor, not the ceiling, of where we need to get to. George Floyd mattered. He was loved by his family and his friends. Attorney General Keith Ellison said at a press conference Tuesday afternoon. But that isn't why he mattered. He mattered because he was a human being. And there is no way that we can turn away from that reality. Amen. President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris spoke Tuesday evening on Chauvin's conviction. Today's verdict is a step forward. Nothing can ever bring George Floyd back, President Biden says, but adds the verdict can be a big step towards justice in America. Darnella Frazier, who recorded the video of Floyd's death that spread quickly online on May 25th, 2020, wrote on Facebook that justice has been served. In a statement released Tuesday, oh, mercy, I am not believing this. This is insane. Hold on, you guys. Oh, goodness. I don't know what's wrong. This article won't read for some reason. It's crazy. Hold on. Hey, how you doing? How's everybody doing? I can't seem to get this story out. I don't know. I was trying to get you the one with the most information, and this one just will not stay queued up. It's very weird. Okay, hold on. So I was talking about Miss Darnella Frazier, the one who recorded the video. She posted to Facebook that justice has been served. In a statement released Tuesday evening, Minneapolis Police Chief Madaria Arradondo, who fired Chauvin one day after Floyd's death and testified against him in his trial, thanked the jurors for their immense responsibility and honorable civic duty. He also called for peace and calm. Now is the time to use our humanity to lift each other up and not tear our city down, Arradondo said. It took the jury roughly 10 hours of deliberation to reach their verdict, about 4 hours Monday afternoon and evening, and another 6 hours Tuesday starting at 8 a.m. Chauvin was convicted of the following charges: second-degree unintentional murder, meaning causing death without intent by committing a felony. Second-degree manslaughter is causing death by unreasonable risk. Third-degree murder means causing death by imminently dangerous act, showing a depraved mind. Earlier Tuesday, WCCO's Esme Murphy reported that Hennepin County Court employees were notified to stop working at all downtown courthouse locations and to exit downtown immediately. Public safety officials said there would be no statewide curfew Tuesday night. Following Chauvin's conviction, crowds gathered at the Hennepin County Government Center, George Floyd Square at the 38th in Chicago, and in Brooklyn Center. Wow, so they've given him a name, George Floyd Square, 38. Shut your mouth, God is good. And in the Brooklyn Center, where 20-year-old Dante Wright was shot, killed by police in the middle of Chauvin's trial. So as you see, there will be no statewide curfew in Minnesota following the verdict. The maximum penalty on second-degree murder charges is up to 40 years in prison, and the third-degree murder charges carries a sentence of up to 25 years in prison. The maximum penalty on second-degree manslaughter is up to 10 years. So 40 years faced in prison. Third-degree murder carries up to 25 years in prison. First charge is second-degree murder, which goes up to 40. Third degree, 25. And the maximum penalty on second-degree manslaughter is 10 years in prison. Judge Peter Cahill said sentencing will take place in about 8 weeks. The jurors heard closing arguments in the trial of Derek Chauvin Monday. The two sides split most significantly on the cause of death. The prosecution argued that all the law requires is that the prosecution prove beyond a reasonable doubt is that Chauvin's knee restraint was a substantial cause of Floyd's death. The defense stressed that Chauvin did what any reasonable officer would have done and said it was wrong to look only at 9 minutes and 29 seconds when Floyd was on the ground. Lord have mercy, this is ridiculous. In departure from how he has looked throughout the trial, Chauvin was maskless and looking directly at his attorney throughout the 3-hour defense closing statement. For the rest of the testimony in the prosecution closing, he was head down, masked, and taking extensive notes. While Nelson's summation was lengthy, it was also complex, and that may be why Blackwell came back with this statement, his rebuttal argument. He said this case is not that complicated in that, in the state's view, Chauvin caused Floyd's death. The line he left the jury with was this. You were told, for example, that Mr. Floyd died because his heart was too big. You heard that testimony, and now having seen all the evidence, having heard all the evidence, you know the truth. And the truth of the matter is that the reason George Floyd is dead is because Mr. Chauvin's heart was too small. Lord have mercy, say that. Since the trial began last month, the prosecution called 38 people. The defense called 7 people to testify in court. Chauvin was not one of them. He invoked his constitutional right not to testify. It was a decision that came without the jury present. Now that Chauvin has been convicted, next comes a determination about whether any aggravating factors existed. The first possible aggravating factor is whether the victim was treated with particularly cruelty. The second is if a child was present. Witnesses at the scene who testified included 2 teens who were 17 at the time, as well as a 9-year-old. If they find aggravating factors, the judge could go all the way up to the statutory maximum, which for count 1 is up to 40 years, count 2 up to 25, and count 3 up to 10, Attorney Joe Tamburino told WCCO. The other 3 officers involved are charged with aiding and abetting and are expected to be tried jointly in August. Earl Gray, the attorney representing ex-officer Thomas Lane, said WCCO he had no comment on Chauvin's conviction. And this is by Derek Chauvin, CBS Minnesota, CBS 4 News is a source for this information. Once again, Derek Chauvin guilty on all 3 counts in George Floyd's death. The other officers will go to trial in August. This verdict is pivotal, and also what will lie ahead for those said men, or vultures rather, when they go to court. Amen. Because they have said that if Chauvin had been found not guilty, 9 times out of 10, these guys will walk free. So now that they Grand Poobah has been found guilty, my oh my, what lies ahead for you lucky fellas? The defense, he put on a show, did he not? With all the shenanigans and talking about the tailpipe and exhaust and all of that, when we already know Floyd was bubbly on that fateful evening in that store. And that's just the bottom line. Drugs or no drugs, high or no high, real $20 bill or no $20 bill, no man or woman deserved to be knee to the neck, body bruised up, deprived of air for 9 minutes. And really, that man was gone under 5 minutes. And that's the spoken word. The church is saying, amen. That is the final information. I will bring you more on updates on storylines I brought to you. There's a shooting here in Knoxville, Tennessee, pertaining to an African-American boy child in a schoolhouse at Austin East Magnet High School on the east side of Knoxville, Tennessee. I don't know really what took place inside of that bathroom, but this is the said information that it was redacted by the FBI. It starts off saying that the young man fired at the cops. Now the FBI has said that the bullet that hit the cop did not belong from a gun of the child. Now, as I stated, I don't agree with the child having a gun on school property. That was the start of his troubles. But I don't really know what really took place in that said restroom. And this is the said information. Well, what is the problem now? I haven't seen one thing somebody said. I haven't even looked at her to see what anyone said. Where's Crystal? I haven't even looked in the comments because I'm reading the information. Well, what are y'all talking about? Damn, I can't go live for 5 seconds. Well, Crystal, go back up and read the comments. Man, because I can't read the comments and read the commentary. Jesus, people need to get a life. The New York Beacon is the next source of information. Tennessee mom regrets calling police on daughter's boyfriend after officer fatally shoots him at school. I am so sorry. A Tennessee mother says she wishes she had never called the police on her daughter's black boyfriend after the conflict ended with the officer fatally shooting him inside of a Knoxville high school bathroom. Anthony J. Thompson Jr., a 17-year-old student at Austin East Magnet High School, was fatally shot by a Knoxville police officer on Monday, April 12th, after his girlfriend's mother called 911. Once again, when a black person is killed, in this case a black child, the police quickly shape a narrative to justify the death, said civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump, who was representing the family. And yes, for those of you who are not following this story, Benjamin Crump, who represents the Floyd family and also Dante Wright's family, has now taken on this case here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Regina Perkins made the call to police after her daughter, Alexis Page, who had been dating Thompson for 9 months, came home early from school with marks on her face and some hair missing. Page, a junior at the high school, said she and Thompson had engaged in a physical fight following an argument. Page had called her mother from the assistant principal's office and was given permission to sign out and leave early. According to Perkins, she reached out to Thompson's mother before contacting authorities, but was unable to get in touch with her. Alexis told me that she was grabbed and that her hair was pulled, and that is really what led me to feel that I needed to do more, Perkins told the Knoxville News Sentinel. An officer came to the Perkins home to take a statement, and Perkins allegedly informed Thompson via text message that an officer would be coming to the school. Perkins and Page said they told police Thompson probably wasn't harmed, but authorities say they were acting on a report that the student was armed when they entered the school. Perkins realized the school was on lockdown after seeing a helicopter above the building. A struggle occurred between Thompson and multiple officers in the school bathroom, and the teen was fatally shot. I am so sorry, and I never meant for anything to happen to him, Perkins said. We are mourning. My daughter is grieving the loss of her first love, and we also want answers and justice in this case. This said information is by the New York Beacon. So as I stated, an African-American boy child, 17, was shot at Austin East High School in the restroom. An officer was shot in the leg. He has been released from the hospital last Friday, doing okay. It is alleged that he and his girlfriend had an altercation. She went to the principal's office and called to have her mom get her out of school. Trying to recap everything. This was Monday, April 12th. When this transpired with Anthony J. Thompson, 17 years of age. It is saying that Regina Perkins made the call to police after her daughter, Alexis Page, who was dating the young man, came home early with marks on her face and hair missing. Okay, her daughter, Page, is a junior at the high school and said these two had engaged in a fight following an argument. Page called her mother from the assistant principal's office and was given permission to sign out and leave early. So she and the young boy allegedly had a fight. Hair was pulled. Other things happened. Face scarred, whatever. She goes home. Mother calls his mother, no response. Then she calls the police. So I guess they show up at the school. And he just so happened, I guess, to still be at the school at that time. Obviously with a weapon. Why he had a weapon, I do not know. I don't know how he even got into school. That was my problem with this whole situation, is how did he get a weapon in the school? How did he get a weapon in the school? Do they not have the batons to wave, those wands? They don't have the little things you walk in that beep when you walk in. It's very strange to me. But as I state, the Beacon, New York Beacon, is the source for that information. Next, I want to talk about Another update is a lot of crazy things have happened. Most of you probably heard about Scottie Pippen's son. He passed away at the age of 33. I haven't really gone into that one yet. 22 years ago, Columbine, there was a fatal shooting at Columbine High School, for those of you who remember that incident. Today was the anniversary of that school shooting. And I wanted to mention that as well. And I also wanted to mention pertaining to hold on. Fort Hood. You need information? Houston 2 News is the source for this. Gate at Fort Hood named in honor of Vanessa Gillian. A gate at Fort Hood was named in honor of a Houston soldier Monday who was killed while stationed at the military installation. Officials at the post dedicated the access gate to 20-year-old SPC Vanessa Gillian during a ceremony that included the presentation of a plaque that is installed on the gate marker.
At Fort Hood, named and dedicated.
Sorry about that. I'm not going to play anything else. April marks a year since Gillian disappeared. After months of searching, her remains were found in a shallow grave near Fort Hood. Investigators have said Gillian was killed by a fellow soldier. The suspect in Gillian's death killed himself as police moved in to arrest him. There are several events planned this week to remember Gillian. A list of those events can be found here. So if you need verification for any upcoming events pertaining to this gate in honor of Miss Gillian, go to Houston News. It doesn't even sound like it's been a year that she was murdered. But once again, a very sad tale at Fort Hood. They've had a lot of unfortunate deaths there in the past year. They were like back to back in the past couple months of last year. There was this nonstop deaths at that base. I couldn't even understand what in God's name was going on out there. But nonetheless, there's a gate honored for Miss Vanessa Gillian if you'd like to verify the source. So those are my updates. Miss Gillian has a gate in her memory, memoriam for her. Mother is wishing she never called the police pertaining to her daughter and the young man having an altercation at Austin East High School here in Knoxville, where he was killed in that bathroom at Austin East High School. I don't really know what transpired in that restroom, but something went down in that restroom. Now the mother has regrets about calling the police. And most of you now know that Derek Chauvin was found guilty on all 3 charges in the death of George Floyd. Of course, I prefer to just say murder. That's what I believe. Thank you all for joining me. Hit the link if you'd like to give your commentary on the said information I brought to you in the news updates. And as I state, Crystal enlightened me tonight that it is Hitler's birthday. I thought, wow, interesting. The day that Chauvin gets convicted of all 3 charges of murder, his daddy had a birthday. Shut your mouth. Yeah, I said that. Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler had a birthday, and his son is now going to be in prison for the murder of George Floyd. Shut your mouth. My. Yes, murder is the correct term. They put death in the articles. It's a more civilized way of saying he killed the man. But it was murder. Derek Chauvin murdered George Floyd. End of story. But those are my updates. Chauvin is going up the river. Mother regrets calling the police on the young man who was killed in the bathroom at Austin East High School here in Knoxville, Tennessee. And Miss Vanessa Gillian, God rest her soul, has a gate honored in her name at Fort Hood. And today marks the 22nd anniversary of the Columbine shooting. Those are my said updates. Whew, it's always something, I tell you. Thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it. Guess I'll drop the link again. Maybe Crystal wasn't able to get it. All I can tell you is to be careful out here, wherever you tread in life, especially if you get pulled over. Just do as you're told. Just do as you're told, no matter what the circumstances are. Whether you're accused of something, and if it's true or not, just do as you're told, please. Preserve your life. Because it sure isn't worth what happened. You don't want to end up like George Floyd. By no means do you ever want to end up like that. Oh, Lord, sorry, it took me a minute to get this information uploaded. Sometimes these articles don't like to upload. It's weird. Very weird. I know that's just the devil. Didn't want me to get the truth out, but it's out now. Shut your mouth. Thank you all for joining me. God bless all of you. Hope you're safe. Thank you all for the kind words for the video I uploaded earlier when I was out. I had some business to take care of back where I was. Yes, that's a beautiful area where I was. I mean, just it's breathtaking over there. I hadn't been to that area before, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this place is just like spectacular. God is good. Just so pretty. So I had to give that panoramic view for Crystal because she didn't really get to see, some of the places over there in that area that are, right near the water with the boat docks. But some of these people are very fortunate to have private docks outside of their home, on the water. So God is good. Amen. Yes, hit the link if you want to give your opinion pertaining to the guilty verdict found in favor of Mr. Chauvin. He has been found guilty on all 3 counts. It's a wrap, homeboy. It's over. As Luther Vandross once said, it's over now. Amen. It's a long wait to get justice for George Floyd. So many others who cops got a free ride to kill him and still were able to keep their jobs. Now let's see what other happy cop's going to go out here and decide he wants to choke somebody out because he's having a bad damn day. Too much mayhem going on in the world. Too much profiling, too much anger, too much badass Captain Save-A-Hole mentality. It's just ridiculous. It's happening too much and it's got to stop. Just got to stop. Got to stop. I want him to die in prison and his bones sit there till his sentence is over, then toss his bones in the garbage. Wow. Hit the link if you want to give your opinion pertaining to the guilty verdict against Mr. Chauvin in the death and murder of George Floyd, the shooting in Knoxville, Tennessee of the African-American male who was shot in a bathroom in a high school. 22nd anniversary of the Columbine shooting. I also brought you information pertaining to Vanessa Gillian, who was in the military at Fort Hood. It's been a year since her death of another member of the military. He killed himself, and they have now honored a gate in her name. If you'd like to comment on any of those said commentaries, please hit the link. I'm happy for the verdict, but I don't have faith the judge in this case will give an adequate sentence. Well, he has to give a sentence pertaining to the law. That's the purpose of every charge having a maximum sentence. So we will pray that he gets all of it. We'll pray. You can count 40 plus 25 is 65, and 65 plus 10 is 75. We can pray he gets every damn number of those years. Amen. Because he was found guilty on every charge. So he should get every year that was allotted for that charge. Hello, traveler. How you doing? Good to see you. Ain't heard from you in a while. Where you been hiding? What you been doing? Hit the link if you want to give your commentary on the said subject matter. I have different updates, plus the conviction of Derek Chauvin. So if you want to give your comment about the conviction and or the other updates I brought to you this evening, please hit the link. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh, lumberjack. Well, honey, whew, I've been busy myself. Queen so broke down, honey. Queen can barely move right now. Oh, Lord, I've been just doing all kind of crazy. Working overload. And my body she is not where she should be. She is tired. Crystal, why don't you come up? You were emotional today. Tell us how you feel, honey. Thank you so kindly.
It is a good day. All 3 counts. I love it. I love it. It's
you know what I told you earlier? And you did the same thing. First thing I thought was, damn it, they found him innocent. I got you didn't say that at first. When we were video chatting, I thought, man, don't tell me they didn't let that damn white boy go. Ooh, it's gonna be smoke in the city if they did. That's all I kept thinking. Like, Lord, I'm gonna have a stroke. And then you waited. It said, "Have you heard the verdict? What happened?" I thought, "Oh, here she goes." I was scared. I was scared for you to tell me. I was like lying. I was.
I knew you was busy. I knew you were busy, and you weren't able to. You weren't probably
I
watching it.
Waited up like right up until 5, because Minnesota's an hour behind, so they were approaching 4. So I said, "Man, they ain't said nothing yet." So I just went back to work. You know what I'm saying? Doing what I was. Oh, and I just prayed. I tried not to think about it because I told myself, am I gonna hear somebody holler, scream? Because where I was, honey, look, I ain't trying to be racist, but them white folks weren't saying nothing. They were somber. So nobody said nothing. So I didn't know what had happened, and I never checked, my phone to see. I just kept trying, I just kept working. So I was like, oh man, somebody gonna call me and tell me something.
Girl, I cried.
Run it down, baby. Run it down.
I cried. I mean, I was glued to the TV since 8:00 this morning, just glued to the TV. And then when they said that they had a verdict coming in, when they said they had a verdict coming in, I had a good feeling because it was 10 hours, right? And none of the jurors ever went back to ask questions, whatever they misunderstood or wanted to see again. Like there was no questions within those 10 hours. That's what made me feel like, okay,
that's a nervous thing, I'm sure, for many people when they didn't come back and ask anything.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a good day to be black.
Aren't you curious to why they never asked anything and why it took so long?
I think that they wanted to make sure they had every count in there, and and that they wanted it to be solid and fair, whatever you want to say. I don't think they wanted to rush it, because I think I don't know. That's just my take.
That
10 hours was good. That was long enough. Make them wait. They already knew.
What did you say that was? Hold on, baby.
It is a good day.
Yes, it is.
And Trolls is gonna be out. They have a bad day today.
Well, I know they upset about it.
That's okay. They can go play on the freeway while it's busy.
Oh, I know it.
I won't stop them.
Hey, matter of fact, just lay on down if you want to.
That's right. I know that's right.
Just get in a row, lay down.
Yeah, just lay down. Don't mind the speed bump. Just keep driving.
You know they got no speed bumps on the interstate now. One second. Ooh. Oh.
So it was very emotional for me because I have two sons. I feel like I had a little bit of weight lifted off today.
Yes.
Not a whole lot. I'm not gonna let my guard down now. You know, this is just a start, but it's a good start. It's a good start into the right direction.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. My thing is, I always make a mockery out of them.
Yeah.
Like an old saying, I can show you better than I can tell you. So I'm a show. 12 members showed them. You cannot get away with murdering a man in cold blood because you're a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
And because you could.
Right. Times has changed. Times there's still a lot of racism out there, but times
always be racism.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Always gonna be that.
Yep. So yeah, it was a very emotional. A little bit of weight off my shoulders.
For instance, talking about he can get out in 10 years. Well, let me tell you something. First, you got to live to make it to the 10 years.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. How about that?
Yeah.
You got to live to get to the 10 years. If let's just say that's all they gave him.
Mm-hmm.
So it would defeat the purpose of giving him 10 years because he had 3 charges. So 10 years is the 3rd charge, the maximum for the 3rd charge. He got found guilty on all 3.
All 3. Say that again.
So he got to get more than the 10. And I don't want to hear nothing about no damn Chauvin getting no damn 10 years.
All 3. Not 1, not 2. All 3. All 3. I'm just so happy.
Well, I ain't listening to nothing negative about the sentence. Y'all knock yourselves out, but the queen ain't going that route. Sorry. I'm not listening to anything negative pertaining to
The other day, and it was great. They still steadily try to make excuses for
you gonna make it, but see, you make excuses for your kind. See, that's like anything.
Yes. Ain't that something?
You gonna make excuses for your kind.
They ain't nothing but a keyboard warriors. That's it. I bet you they won't go in no crowd talking this mess, but they'll sure say it on the keyboard. Just stay on the keyboard. Y'all just stay on the keyboard. That's best for you.
Victim impact statements also play a part in his sentencing. Yes. Okay. Oh, I hear you, Princess. I hear what you're saying, what they said, but you know, the queen, we not listening at nothing negative, sweetheart. I'm not gonna focus on nothing negative pertaining to the sentencing because that's 2 months from now, and I don't want to dwell on anything negative because let me tell you, if that judge sits up in his high spot and give him 10, there'll be a whole lot of burning bridges. I'll put it like that.
Yep.
It'll be just like they said they're gonna set him free.
Yep, exactly.
That's exactly what they'll do. Them folks will go the hell off. Crystal, I'm gonna step away for just a second. You roll the chat for me, please.
Okay.
Be right back.
So is everybody pleased with the verdict today? Yes, push 1. No, push 2. How about that? Everyone should send a letter to the judge. And say what, Traveler? Traveler says everyone should send a letter to the judge. My question is, what are we supposed to say? Oh, sweet one. I said, everyone that is agreeable, happy about the verdict today, push 1. If not, push 2 so I can block you. I like how the unity was today. To be honest, I watched the whole video from this morning, and like I said, I have 2 sons, and this case really did touch me. It took a little burden off my shoulders, not too much. Like I said, I'm not gonna put my guard down, and I still tell my sons to, respect the law and whatnot. Because we all know that this may have came out, guilty verdict on all 3 counts, which is amazing, but we all know it's not going to be the last time. That's the scary part. But we are all headed in the right direction. And like I said, I really loved seeing all the crowds and whatnot, and their peaceful protesting, and it was all races. It wasn't just Black people. It was all races. And that lets me know that we are all headed in the right direction. There's a lot of, people's eyes are waking up to this racism, and people are tired of it. So in that sense, yeah, I'm ecstatic. I'm ecstatic for the verdict. Now it's just the timing. What's his sentence going to be? That's a little worrying. Like I think it was Traveler said, or somebody said something about the judge having a sentence and not to. It was Edward. I think it was Edward that said it. But I'm a little worried about that as well. But I think Bubba gonna get him before the judge does anyway. So I think we're good on that end. Because they took him straight from court, handcuffed. So I wonder if he's in the cell with Bubba now, or is he gonna be in the cell with Bubba tomorrow? But I know they have bids on him. I know that much. They all want a piece of him. So I think we'll be all right. Even if he gets 10 years, he's not gonna make it out. I honestly don't think he'll make it out. That's just my opinion. Edward, you said you were scared to watch the trial today. Why were you scared? Were you scared that they were going to come back not guilty? Yeah, Traveler, I understand he'll be protected. Not 100%. They're not 100% protected, because you have to think about it.
Well, I don't believe in that, really.
Inmates have to be fed. Inmates are fed by other inmates. So what do you think is going to happen to their food? Like, they're not protected 100% all the time.
Well, because guess what? A guard can turn a blind eye.
Yep, sure can. Yes. And that happens more than we know.
All the time. You see what happened with when they killed themselves in New York?
Yes.
They didn't do the random checks and they killed themselves.
Yep.
It's the rich one. The one that was raping the women or whatever he was doing. Can't think of his name.
Somebody, did you all watch his face look? Oh yeah, Dancing Queen. That's what I was looking at. I kept watching it over and over and over again.
I'm trying not to show an emotion, but you can see them eyes moving back and forth.
Oh, girl, did you see? Yes, that is the most.
I just saw it just now.
That is the most movement I've seen the whole.
He was done. He didn't want to let on that he was.
Yep. That was the most movement I seen up out of him. The whole trial was his eyes. Boy, he was looking.
Wait. Y'all got this wrong. Wait a minute. That's what his eyes were saying. Oh, boo, we didn't get it wrong this time. Well, members, it ain't like Florida with Zimmerman.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yep.
All that BS. Now, justice came home. The rooster has crowed.
Yep. I know that's right. Yeah, Traveler is saying for us to write a letter. I would be more than willing to write a letter. But, I mean, who you write the letter to? The judge himself, to the Indianapolis courthouse?
He said, write those letters, America. Look at Traveler. He always the voice of reason, ain't it?
Yeah, if he needs to throw the address up there. Who do we write? I would write a letter.
Traveler, why don't you come up here and talk? Queen ain't heard from you in about a month. Or over a month.
He says, write the judge. Okay, so
Judge, I got arthritis.
It goes straight. Yeah, like
I'm a caller. Wait a minute. Let's do like the others. I'm a YouTuber. Speak to the judge. Oh, yeah. Look. Let's see if that YouTube sensation will work up there in the
Yep. Well, why don't y'all just go to his house?
I'm a YouTuber. Can I talk to the judge personally? When you call me up, I got something I want to tell you.
Just go to his house. Knock on the door.
Ooh, Lord, don't go to the man good house.
Yeah, you're a YouTuber, right?
Yeah. Queen ain't going nowhere. I call before I go ride up. I ain't wasting no gas to go up there and talk to that judge. Well, I can just call and tell him I'm a YouTuber.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to give him the maximum now. I don't want no 6 years, 8 years. I want him to do all his time. Yes, finally, justice. Yes, for all of them. Yes, amen. Finally, I'm looking at Chauvin right now. They got it on MSNBC, the 11th hour. He looking too like, man, I can't believe this. And them bags, looking heavy too, honey.
Mm-hmm.
Can't sleep at night. Baby, God is trying to tell you something. He might need to go watch The Color Purple.
Yeah.
Yes, honey. Your little year was short, homeboy. You got. That's how I look at it. You got more than what you gave George Floyd.
Yes.
You got to still walk around and folks rally behind you, and fussing and raising hell. Got your bail money. You got more than what you gave George Floyd.
Mm-hmm. Hennepin County Courthouse.
Lord, he's talking about emailing the judge. That judge gonna be like, man, but that judge, he couldn't wait to get home.
Oh, I know. And it kind of seemed like he had like a look on his face when he read the. I didn't know if anybody else seen that, huh?
So how you think the look? How did you perceive his look?
That he was very pleased with it.
Oh, okay.
He was pleased with it. He looked and he had like a smile, like, you know, he it wasn't a big smile, but he had a smile like you guys did the right thing.
Hennepin County Courthouse. Traveler. Oh Lord.
Yeah, he said we could email him. I'm finna find out because I sure will email him or write him a letter.
I can tell you after day 3, I couldn't talk about it no more. The trial, I just refused to talk about it after that because I couldn't do it. After I saw the way they threw him on that gurney and then the pictures of him in the ambulance, that was it for me. I could no longer talk about it. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Just blatant disrespect. And then to go in that courtroom with all that fancy wording of exhaust pipes and the crowd is bringing up all these wild excuses that never took place. So see, those things didn't happen in this case. Nobody intervened on his behalf. Nobody stopped the police from kneeing this man to the neck. Nobody. Not a spectator, not a cop, not an EMT. And you know you're a cold EMF to still be on top of somebody's neck. And there's an EMT that's checking the pulse. You didn't even have the decency to even get your ass up off that man. That shows intent right there. You didn't even budge. You did not move, Chauvin.
Yep.
When you saw and knew you felt nothing up under your kneecap, you should have stopped.
Yep.
And when the EMT came, gloved and all, you didn't even move once.
Not one time.
Shows intent right there. It's ridiculous. Look at dancing, talking about our bum rushes. What? Well, you know what? Dancing queen. All I say, I'm gonna pray for you if you bum rush them, because you're gonna end up like that person laying on that ground. Because they don't care. They don't care nothing about people. Excuse me. Yeah.
Bless you.
Excuse me. You know, I've been around this. But thank you, baby. But that's the point. It's sad that a citizen can't intervene, because that'd be the first thing they'd said. Oh, they intervene in a, police, blah, 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 procedure, blah, 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 apprehension. How you gonna apprehend something dead? I'll wait.
Mm-hmm.
That was it was disgusting. It's a disgusting act. And it's even more disgusting is because we saw it visually. And that judge, that lawyer, he's something else. He said now he's talking about we ain't seen all of what. We ain't seen all of what? How many more minutes do I need to see?
Right.
What is it that I didn't see that would help me favor Chauvin? Nothing.
Right.
Nothing. There's nothing I need to see extra. Because in the end, right, Traveler, we witnessed the murder. That man was happy-go-lucky before they ever called 911 about a $20 bill, alleged fake bill. And the thing that bothers me more now is hearing testimony that he hung around the store. He was sitting on top of the car. The first release from the police was a lie to the public that it was an incident. Because I'm watching the news now. They put up, it was an incident where a man had an incident, medical emergency. Police was called. They took him. He died at the hospital. That's how they worded it in the beginning.
Oh, wow.
Because it's running on the news right now as I speak. You know damn well that man did what he did. Because it went viral right after they put him in the damn ambulance. Well, Traveler, I didn't want to think that he believed that it was real. I do believe that guy, that friend he was with, had some knowledge of the bill. George could have known it was fake. I don't know, because I can't say. But what I will say is the clerk already said earlier with the same guy with fake money. So my thing is, why would you come back? Who would come back? Either one, George or the guy. Why would you go back to the store? That's what struck me odd. It's like he couldn't have been that adamant to use a fake bill. You can go to any store and use fake money. I wouldn't go back to the same store if I was just with somebody, or if I tried to pass it myself. I wouldn't go back. James, how do you know it wasn't racism? You don't know that because you don't know these people. You don't know Chauvin. You can't say what it was. You don't know that. You can't say it wasn't racism. Chauvin has other, what's the word I'm looking for? Infractions on him before the death of George Floyd. Yeah, not Al, the friend would say, "What the hell you been all night? Just coming here, creeping in here." Yes, I agree with that. You should have never let him out the police car. Yes, because somebody was arguing with me about this last night, the other night, and that's my point. However you want to word what happened in that car with George Floyd, sliding across, the guy trying to pull him across, whichever, because I don't want to argue that tonight. The point is, the motivation was to put him in the car. You knew how tall he was when you first approached him. So initially, you should have called a paddy wagon. You knew damn well he couldn't fit in that SUV.
Mm-hmm.
John QQ. Hi, how you
I'm
doing,
gonna go
baby?
back. I'm gonna go back down in the chat.
You didn't need a notification, Night Owl. I messaged you. Lord have mercy, Jesus. I messaged you, dear. The point is, Chauvin already had him. Hello, everybody. The Wi-Fi blinked out. I don't know why. This place I'm in visiting is just horrible. The Wi-Fi system is just ratchet. It's not good service at all. Waste of money. Okay, I'm gonna read you out something that just came up on my notifications. Since this has been the latest gossip about Miss Maxine Waters. Oh, y'all people, these people just always picking on something to moan about. Okay, this is by CNN if you need a source. Judge in Derek Chauvin trial says Rep. Maxine Waters' comments may be grounds for appeal. The judge overseeing former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin's trial in the death of George Floyd said Monday that can't say what I want to say. Representative Maxine Waters' comments could be grounds for appealing a verdict. I'll give you that Congresswoman Waters may have given you something on appeal that may result in this whole trial being overturned, Judge Peter Hill told defense attorney Eric Nelson on Monday. On Tuesday, a 12-person jury found Chauvin guilty of a second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter in Floyd's death on May 25, 2020. The defense had moved for a mistrial Monday over recent publicity in the case, including TV shows and comments by Waters. Nelson noted that the trial had not only been in the news, but recently included in two fictional TV shows and what he described as threats against the sanctity of the jury process by Waters over the weekend. Cahill said that he was aware of Waters' comments about the unacceptability of anything less than a murder conviction and talked about being confrontational. I wish elected officials would stop talking about this case, especially in a manner that is disrespectful to the rule of law and to the judicial branch and our function, Cahill added later. I think if they want to give their opinions, they should do so in a respectful and in a manner that is consistent with their oath to the Constitution to respect a co-equal branch of government. Their failure to do so, I think, is abhorrent, but I don't think it's prejudice us with additional material that would prejudice this jury, he said, adding that a congresswoman's opinion really doesn't matter a whole lot. No, it doesn't. Waters over the weekend had called for protesters to stay on the street and get more confrontational. Chauvin were acquitted in Floyd's killing. Comments immediately seized on by Republicans who claimed that Waters was inciting violence. The California Democrat said she was in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, to show her support for protesters amid ongoing protests over the police killing of Daunte Wright and to also support his family. We got to stay in the street and demand justice, Waters said to reporters, according to the video posted on social media. We're looking for a guilty verdict, and we're looking to see if all of the talk that took place and has been taking place after they saw what happened to George Floyd. If nothing does not happen, then we know that we got to not only stay in the street, but we have got to fight for justice, she added. In response to the judge's comments on Monday, Waters, leaving the House floor, told reporters that the judge says my words don't matter. Pressed later on the judge's comments that her remarks could be grounds for appeal, she said, "Oh, no, they didn't." The Congresswoman told CNN that her reference to confrontation was meant in the context of the civil rights movement's nonviolent history, saying that the whole civil rights movement is confrontation. House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer downplayed Waters' remarks, saying Monday, "I don't think she meant violence. She never advocated violence. She is passionate. She believes in her issues." The Maryland Democrat said the judge's belief that Waters' comments could give the defense grounds to appeal is a problem. "I don't think it is, but it concerns me," he said. After a day of closing arguments, jury deliberations in the trial began late Monday afternoon. In the state's closing argument, prosecutors said Chauvin kneeled on Floyd's neck and back for 9 minutes and 29 seconds because of his pride and his ego in the face of concerned bystanders. In response, the defense said Chauvin acted as a reasonable officer. Lie. Wood, in that situation, had said there was no evidence he intentionally or purposely used force that was unlawful. The trial's outcome could spark protests in light of national unrest over recent deaths of Black Americans at the hands of police. The Army has approved a request for D.C. National Guard forces to deploy as soon as Monday night if there is unrest in the wake of the verdict, according to the U.S. defense official. Okay, this story has been updated with the verdict in Derek Chauvin's trial on Tuesday. So this was an article obviously printed beforehand. As most of you know, it's still Tuesday here in the high 10, 11:48, 11:46, somewhere in there. Chauvin was found guilty on all 3 counts. This is comments that was made by Miss Maxine over the weekend. As they say, everyone's entitled to their opinion. It's so amazing how when Black people have something to say, it's always a problem. It doesn't matter if they're the butcher, baker, candlestick maker, president, senator, judge, mayor. It's always a problem. In the end, the judge is really contradicting himself. First, you say what she's saying could cause Chauvin's defense attorney or the new ones to ask for an appeal if there was less than a guilty verdict, which means what? Bad things could happen in the cities. Then you said, I really don't think anything she said would be of any consequence or matter as far as prejudicial to the jury. So which is it? It's always a problem when Black people have an opinion. They can't never talk, can't never say anything. Doesn't matter if you're a regular civilian. You're not a politician. You have no right to say this or that. But everybody else, why? They can say whatever they want. I don't get it. Why? Self-entitlement. That's what it is. Those people knew about this man dying in the street a year ago. And you knew the repercussions of whatever verdict you give. You know that people are going to find out your name. They're going to find out where you live. You knew all that. That's why one man, when they were asking him questions about being on the jury panel, he said he was worried about being on for the fear of retaliation or people finding out, his location, this and that, bothering his family, blah, blah, blah. Of course. But that's what happens when you decide to become a member if you are chosen to be on a high profile case. This is what happens. Confrontational, which is soever. How can it be a mistrial? It can't be a mistrial. They already found him guilty. James, you obviously aren't paying attention. They found him guilty today, Tuesday. So it can't be a mistrial because they've already found him guilty. You mean when it's time for him to go up for an appeal, if he has a lawyer who will take on the case again, this lawyer or somebody new, he may appeal it. But the best thing he can do is just do his time and leave well enough alone. He killed the man, and that's the bottom damn line. And it's on video that he killed the man, and there was no Chauvin ain't just a dirty ass white man. He probably is. He probably wasn't a good husband. He wasn't a good father. He wasn't a good cop. He wasn't a good nothing. child of God, maybe he is. But in the end, people are going to look at him as a racist. It's just the way it goes. It doesn't mean it has to be so, but that is the assumption. For some, let me say. Not all, but some. In the end, I don't really care. He had no business doing it because it was their job on that day to keep Floyd in the back seat of that damn car. And that's the bottom line. And if you all were so damn concerned about getting him to the jailhouse, he would have made it to the jailhouse. And I doubt he would have been dead once he made it to the county jail, city jail, which is so ever. Well, sweet one, we're not in Canada. You know, things are different over here in America. They talk, they make books, they do all kind of stuff. So that's it. Go ahead.
Hey, Miss Angela, how are you doing?
All right. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm glad I caught you.
Yeah,
I
I sent you a thing on Duo.
I didn't get it. I didn't get it. I am glad that he was found guilty on all three charges. Um, I'm glad the family received some type of justice, although we know they lost a loved one. Are you there?
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Oh, okay. I think the judge in this case did not want him to be found guilty by his actions and things he said. He's trying to give Chauvin a defense for an appeal because to use Maxine words, which was not inciting a riot or causing disruption, that's what it looks like to me. And I don't care what anybody thinks. He killed the man on purpose. And now I'm going to use the correct term. He lynched him publicly and tried to act like he was doing his job. And if people research, Chauvin has used this tactic before. He received an infraction and he should have been on desk duty or no longer a cop. Because at that point, when he's been found doing things he shouldn't have been doing in the beginning, I think the police department had a responsibility to pull these cops that received so many infractions off the street. They either need to be retrained or they need to be terminated before they kill somebody. And in this case, he did lynch somebody because for someone to say they can't breathe is not like the man was saying, oh, I can't breathe, and he was faking. You can literally tell in his voice, I can't breathe. Anybody would come and just know when you hear I can't breathe or get air or anything. Say what now?
That was a joke, remember? Remember? They said a chain twin, not chain, but the little Oriental one was like, well, he's talking, so he all right.
Yeah. Right. But I would like to know how many of them would like somebody to put their knee on their neck.
Well, that's what needs to happen. Yeah.
And leave it there. We want to know if it's still okay if they talk, but you know the person keeps applying pressure to that neck. The move was totally uncalled for. The situation got out of control, and it wasn't even that deep over a 20 that can't nobody say whether these people had the 20 or got it back and changed. People have counterfeit money all the time that they necessarily did not take to defraud somebody. Money is ever changing. So for this to go from just about a $20 counterfeit bill to a lynching, it's crazy.
Okay, I want to talk to John Q for just a second. So, John, how you know something's gonna be overturned? I like maybe you should hit the link and come up and talk instead of typing. How you know what's gonna happen?
And if it's overturned, I hope they raise pure hell because
good luck with that. I'm leaning on faith.
For us, when our relatives is in the cemetery, African Americans who've been lynched, we don't get to overturn that death sentence.
Amen.
We don't get to go on appeal for that death sentence. We don't get to go and get support for that death sentence. We just left with just pray about it. It's all right. They gone on.
Yeah. Well, let's see if George Floyd can come back then if it gets overturned. How about that?
Exactly. And I stand with Maxine and what Maxine stands for.
Let's roll the dice.
Everybody that's not African American that gets up and say smart things, degraded things, emasculate us, stereotype us, it's all right. It's freedom of speech. But then when we talk and we use logic, all of a sudden we incite riots and we threaten people. We threaten every day of the week,
Every day.
7 days a week, 365 days a year, 366 weekly.
But you see, when you're of a lighter shade, you can't understand that. You will never be able to understand what it is like to be an African American in this country. You don't know what it's like to be a dark person. No damn why, because you ain't black.
Exactly.
You ain't gonna never be black. You ain't gonna never be able to identify because you ain't. And that's just a spoken word. And not just here in America, Canada, abroad, Europe, wherever.
Right. It's rampant.
The bottom line. You got to speak for you. You can't speak for me. You can't speak for us.
Absolutely.
You know how many black people been accosted and they were in regular wear. They weren't in street wear. They weren't in a hoopty. They weren't driving around with rims and a booming system and 24-inch rims.
Right.
They weren't in the hood. They were somewhere minding their damn business. And got accosted.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I don't want to hear about thread. We thread every day we wake up. We might walk out the door, might not walk back in. And before anybody know anything, they don't went and found out mama, great grandmama. They don't found everybody put out everything about us. And
well,
this
John got something else you like to say. I don't mean to cut you off. He has a lot he like to say. Baby, why don't you quit typing and just hit the link? It's free to everybody. See, I don't discriminate.
Absolutely. You give everybody a chance to voice their opinion.
Defense attorney Alan Dershowitz made a statement today on Fox News regarding the jury not being sequestered during the trial. And how does he know if they were sequestered or not? What did you define as sequestered? Mm-hmm. Because now here come he said, she said. Just saying.
What we do know is they said guilty. Period.
Well,
why is it when
I wasn't there? I wasn't there.
Mm-hmm. That found guilty. What's that? It's people that seem to have a problem with the justice system that they want to be okay
because it's how it always is. Anything pertaining to black folks, it's always a mishandling. It's always something up for grabs for a mistrial or this or that, an appeal. It's how it always is. This is how it always is.
It's a lot of folks in prison that y'all tell us to be okay with because that's what the justice system does, to prosecute the criminals. What is the problem? He's a criminal. He's a convicted felon. Period. He was found guilty by a jury of his peers. What is the problem? Oh, because he was a cop. He don't walk on water. He's a cop. His job is to protect and serve. His paycheck.
Which he did not, which he has not done several times due to the infractions on his record before George Floyd's death. Keep it 100.
Exactly why I said he shouldn't have even been on the street. He was a danger to the public. I don't know if y'all understand infraction. That means you're doing something you ain't got no business.
Well, that's Minneapolis' fault. That's their fault. They allowed that man to do just what he did on May 25th.
Right.
And he won't be the first and he won't be the last. And that's just
exactly. I'm not giving him no way out. Why? George Floyd didn't get a way out. George Floyd didn't get proper aid. George Floyd was treated like an animal.
Well, like I
don't know what the crime could have been. Everybody is owed due process.
I ain't worried about Chauvin today. I ain't worried about Chauvin 8 weeks from now because my God is great. And I ain't worried about it. I ain't worried about an appeal. I ain't worried about nothing. Because from 8 weeks from now, I'll be glad that my eyes are open. How about that? My own
You
damn
and
eyes.
me both.
I'll be thankful some fucking hillbilly don't pull me over for a fucking tree hanging over my rearview mirror obstructing my view and it's against the law and yah. Man, come on, miss me with all that.
Hold on. And the other one, oh, the tag is expired. The light is out. The tire was a little flat. All the cars look right.
You didn't yield. You look like your car fits the description. It's a rental car. You're in a bad area. It's a crime ridden area. You didn't stop at the stop sign. Man, go on with all that.
You're smoking a cigarette.
Arrest.
All type of things. I mean, I'm trying to understand, when do we get our appeals and when do we get our justice and when do we get to go up and rant and rave about what we have to go through? We have to walk a line so tight.
Well, you can't understand. That's the whole point. You will never understand. And frankly, I ain't about to sit here and try to explain to no white man nothing about what it's like to be black. I ain't gonna do it now. I ain't gonna do it never. Now, you want to keep talking to him, you knock yourself out. You knock yourself out because you're talking to yourself. This is what I can try to tell you about this damn YouTube shit. They don't get it. They ain't gonna get it. Shit. Going around in circles. They don't care. That's the reason why George Floyd is dead. Right. Motherfucker didn't care. Like what the prosecution said. Your heart was too little. That's the bottom line.
Heart didn't have one. He didn't have a soul. Cause what?
That's why they come in the chat. I was explaining something. What Peter said, Pookie said, Ray said. I don't want to hear nothing about what nobody said on no program. I don't care. Because in the end, y'all gonna keep doing just what y'all been doing. Because today was George Floyd. Tomorrow is this black man. Tomorrow is this one. Then the next day is this one. This shit gonna go on and on till God decides to break up the earth.
Exactly. The only difference is it's on camera, and that don't even make a difference. Because even with camera, you try to explain, y'all didn't really see that. That ain't really what went on. See, he didn't comply. I mean, what do you want from us? We sick of this. It's a new day and a new time.
Sickening. I'm gonna explain myself. That's something Queen don't do. I ain't going to argue with nobody about being black. You want to argue with somebody about being black, you gonna find another Negro. This one, you got the wrong one. I don't do that.
He got what he deserved. Guilty. Period.
I ain't gonna argue with nobody about being no black person. That's ridiculous.
Right, Jennifer? I just heard about Ohio.
Yeah, it's on the news now. I'm watching it now. I'm on MSNBC now. I got the volume down, but I'm looking. Didn't I just say? I know every situation is not going to be the same. There are going to be people who are not going to obey the law. There are going to be people that's going to resist. There's going to be people that's going to run. There's going to be people that may shoot the police. There may be people that's going to go for their gun, their taser. Like I said, show me the proof. I roll with it. But in the case of George Floyd, it ain't nothing to argue about. Nothing to argue about. Nothing to argue about. Because you had no business getting him out of the car. You had no business letting him get to the point of getting out of the car. That was your job to keep him in the car. The hell you gonna put somebody in a car and then the doors ain't even locked? That's on y'all. It's not on George Floyd. That's on y'all. He was too damn big to be in that little bitty ass SUV anyway. You should have called a paddy wagon.
All they had to do was follow protocol. Just like all we gotta do is comply. All you gotta do is your job, and your job is not to lynch. You had one thing to do and didn't do it.
Well, everybody, John Q wants to speak.
All right, I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna drop back down in the chat, Queen.
All right. Hello.
Hello, Miss Angie. How are you?
I'm fair.
Well, that's good. That's good. I enjoy your platform very much.
I'm being combative tonight. I'm in pain right now.
No, I mean it's always good to play devil's advocate to everything.
Yeah, but why in this case would you want to do that, John? Why?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everybody should be playing devil's advocate when someone is trying to make a suggestion otherwise or contrary to what has been said and what has been mentioned. So, I mean, you do a good job, and you test the fields to make sure that if the truth is going to come out, it's going to come out. And I agree with you. I do the same thing. So I appreciate your attitude and the way you're handling certain cases.
Well, let me ask you. Don't bring up no other ones. I don't want to bring up nothing. Look, I don't want to bring up nothing negative. Because if you jump off, they will not. They'll go with it, and this chat will be
right. I agree.
My fans don't know how to stay on cue. Sorry.
No, I agree. I agree. And that's the way to be.
They can't stay on one subject. If you start talking about something else, they'll go run, and we'll be all on 15th Street.
No,
so tell me this.
Yeah.
What do you think about the verdict?
Well, the verdict is pretty much what I hoped for, and I was thinking that they were going to come back with the wrong verdict, though.
Why?
I thought they were going to come back with a third-degree charge.
Lesser charge.
Yeah, lesser charge. Screw it up.
What happens?
Yeah, screw it up and let the place go back on fire again.
Okay.
Because they had the media on board, they had the people in the street, everybody was ready. They timed it perfectly, 2 to 3 hours in advance after a verdict was made at 1:44 this afternoon. Okay. So I was waiting for them to say, okay, if they're going to do it, here we go. Because they came back sooner than we expected with the verdict.
Well, I didn't think they were holding it that long.
Yeah.
I did. I thought 10 hours was a bit much.
So I was very surprised that on all 3 counts, they got a guilty.
Well, I'm looking right
on all 3 counts, and I said, wait a minute.
Man dies after medical incident during police interaction. This was released last year. The initial report from the police department was a lie.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
If you could turn on the MSNBC right now, they've got the initial report the police released to the public.
Right. I saw that.
Yeah, that was a farce.
Yeah, it seemed like seemed like they didn't have all of the video surveillance footage during the time of the trial as well.
During the trial, you say?
Yeah, during the time of the trial, we just got they just got video images of Floyd being in the store actually during before this incident actually took place. So I said, that's kind of late. They were already, finished closing remarks, and they were bickering about certain pieces of evidence that they wanted to introduce, and the judge wasn't having it so late in the trial, especially after 15 days of trial remarks.
I missed that.
So I found that kind of interesting and very strange at best, but the prosecution seemed to have covered the case the way they wanted to.
Oh, they did a good job. I think they did a good job.
Yeah, and I agree they did.
They did a good
They
job.
they had it.
He was something else. To me, he reminded me of Baez, just not as maybe as nasty.
Right.
Casey lawyer.
And so
Baez. Ain't nobody like that boy. I swear.
yeah, the defense lawyer tried to swing it around a different way.
Oh, he did.
And
He did. He was subtle with the stuff he threw out.
Yeah, I didn't buy it. He's trying to say that contributing factors were more the cause of his death than the actual direct action by the police officer. I said, no, that's not true.
Well, he had to. He had to do that. He had to do that. He had to. Even though I don't agree, but he had to because that's what they do.
Yeah, that was his job. That was his job.
That's right. That's his job.
You know, he was playing the devil's advocate. If you've ever seen the movie,
yes, I have.
Did, what Keanu Reeves did, you know, as a defense attorney. So
yes,
he did his job.
But it was lame to me. It was so lame and disrespectful to bring in the crowd. We already know you can't bring in something that never happened. No one ever intervened. You can only bring that up if actually someone intervened from the crowd. It was a mob-like mentality. People jumped in, start beating up the cops. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To just suddenly throw that in, like, you know, like hypothetical, so, you know, to give them something to think about. But they watched the video and they saw that no one intervened. Worst case scenario, they just hear these people saying, "Hey, this man can't breathe. Hey, this man can't breathe." But nobody ever once stepped off that curb and intervened on Floyd's behalf. So that was just so disrespectful for people to just say that in court to me. I just was like, wow, man, you're low.
Yeah, now they have
the angry crowd syndrome.
Right. Now they had the body cams of the police officers. I was able to actually catch two of the police officers' body cams early this morning before the verdict came in, and I wanted to take a very careful look at the camera's position, the perspective, how they arrived at the scene, how long things took place, and what the cameras caught in reference to arresting George Floyd, taking him out of the vehicle, and then putting him down on the ground. Now, according to Officer Lane and Officer, I think it's Hung or Hogg, the first two officers, responding officers on the scene that got there, I found that Officer Hung's video cam was far more revealing about the actions that Chauvin had taken during the arrest time.
Okay.
And it clearly shows that Chauvin never moved his knee from George Floyd's neck until EMS got there.
Right. But guess what? When the first EMT came, he had the gloves on, he didn't move then.
Right. They had him down on the ground and he was still moving. And then you hear George begin to fade out as his breathing and the sounds of his breathing got lesser and lesser for us audibly to hear. And then all of a sudden, the two officers, both Lane and Hogg, pulled their knees off of Floyd's back and legs. But Chauvin,
I saw the black guy. I saw the black guy take his hand and remove it briefly from Floyd's hands, because you know Floyd was, as we would say, hog-tied, basically. His hands to the back. So the black guy briefly took his hands off and then lightly put it back as to pretend that he's aiding. And I thought, you just sealed your own fate. But let me tell you this. I counted the clock. Floyd was gone, or let's just say in a bad state, under 5 minutes. When you count the clock up to about 4:30 something, at least probably 4:30 something, you can see he ain't moving. He ain't doing nothing. He ain't talking. He ain't whispering. He's not doing a damn thing.
Right. I got to around 5 minutes myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
under 5 minutes, really, Floyd was gone. But then I also can say to myself, the flip side of it is, do I know that he was really gone? Could it just be his heart stopped and maybe he could have been resuscitated? Do you understand what I'm saying? But we're never going to know that because he laid there some more minutes. So who's to say that he couldn't have been resuscitated had somebody stepped in and started CPR, but nobody ever offered him aid? So
Right.
hey, this man could have actually lived. We're never going to know that because they're now saying that once they got him around the corner, you know, they tried doing everything they tried to do. Woo, woo, woo. So my mind is telling me, hell, he may have been able to be resuscitated. But the flip side of that, also, you had no business taking him out of the car.
Mm-hmm. I saw that, you know, during the time of the arrest, when they put the cuffs on him and everything, no one actually explained to him exactly why he was under arrest. He was never told he was being arrested, from the audio that I captured. And no one actually explained to him why he was being questioned or arrested for the counterfeit bill, supposedly, allegedly, the counterfeit bill that came from the store. So I found that very interesting. Oh, Lord. I guess we got to wait for Angie to come back. Well, while we're doing that, hello, everyone. Hope everybody's doing well. It's been an exciting day, that's for sure. Yeah, a lot of the timing and how
I think what my that Wi-Fi is
welcome back.
actually where I'm visiting. Yes, it's
Yeah.
horrible. But yeah, but my thing is the I just don't understand all that stuff that was brought into play by the defense attorney, which, like I said, I know that's his job, but it just I've just never heard of such with anybody being arrested that the person being arrested actually gets a favor by the cops. Usually they don't care what you want. You understand what I'm saying? They just don't care. Now you have someone that will be kind to you. I also thought it was weird that they handcuffed him to the back. He's a big guy. I mean, even one of the superiors said something about that. You should have handcuffed him to the front. Why would you handcuff him to the back? All that whole scenario was off to me. It's very off to me.
Right. And for him to use the I guess the prefix to everything that he was explaining as to what a reasonable officer would do, kind of really killed his defense going through, because that's where he got hung up with the 9 minutes and 29 seconds of the videotape that he couldn't climb over correctly. You know, my opinion, that is.
Crystal has some questions for you about the fake bill. Not pictures of it, but actually bill itself. Did anybody see the bill? See, that's been the number one thing to me of what got all this mess crunk in the first place is the actual money.
Yeah.
You know, somebody came in my queue. I mean, not my queue, but my in the chat a while ago, I guess saying they didn't like my attitude as far as the guy working the counter. Well, see, you got to think about something. Everything has a reaction. Your boss told you day one, any money that you bring into this register that is fake on your watch will be deducted from your pay. So when you first took that money, homeboy, and it's no disrespect to him, but I call a spade a spade. You went on and took it anyway. You shouldn't have took it.
Right.
You're supposed to have a marker. You're in a metropolitan city and you don't have a bill marker?
And he stated that during the trial. He stated that he should have never taken it.
Well, that's my point. So now you feel guilty about all that's happened, and I get that, but you knew your job is also at risk. So this is why I said this. That's why so much of that story with that store that's so bogus, because there was so much back and forth in the beginning when this case first jumped off. I mean, that was one of the things that people argued about, was the $20 bill and why these people didn't have a marker. Why did you take the money? The store, they're saying that the owner of the store said, we never called the police. So it was like all these different variances, you know what I'm saying? All these different versions. You didn't know what to think. Like I said,
Right.
I'm just really getting a true alleged version from court of what actually happened on that day with the money. So you have to weigh everything. It's like the scripture. One thing begets another. One person
Right.
took a bill when he knew it didn't look right, yet took it anyway. Lets the
Right.
guy leave the store and then says, damn, they might take this money out my pay. Now I'm going to go talk to my superior.
Right. I
Now
think
the superior wants him to go out there and get the bill. I didn't like that either. You're going to send some kids out in the street to confront somebody about a bill? Do you know how dangerous that is?
yeah. I thought that was interesting because the
That's what I'm saying. None of this made any
how was that
sense.
determined? You know, the officer that collected the bill never validated or verified. How did they determine that the bill was counterfeit or fake?
Right, and that's what Chris
store?
was saying right now.
Right.
Has it ever been verified?
Right. And
I
since
mean,
it wasn't verified by the store owner,
oh Lord.
yeah, and the police to verify that the bill was counterfeit. I mean, they already had the group outside, you know, with the police monitoring them and everything to determine whether the bill was counterfeit or not in order to proceed with any kind of questioning from that point. So I found that very, very odd.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
to this day, we're still in limbo about a damn $20 bill. Because the man is dead over an alleged $20 fake bill.
Right.
So I'm going to ask, do you know anyone that knows if the bill was ever verified to be counterfeit?
And then that's my question today too.
Okay. So see, this is what's crazy to me. So you mean to tell me all this hoopla, death, mayhem, a trial, now guilty verdict, and no one still knows if the bill was real? Okay, this is another thing that makes no sense. The young boy testified in court that, George was here earlier with the same guy, and he had a fake bill then and tore it up and threw it on the ground. Did you remember that? Remember that in the trial?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you see where I'm going? Why are y'all
Right.
back at that damn store?
Exactly.
And that's where people will come in and start thinking, okay, well, maybe George knew the money was fake. Because you have to ask yourself, if I was with you when you gave fake money, I don't think I'd come back to the store with you a second time.
No, naturally, I don't think anybody would have came back to the store a second
That's
time.
my point. And so then the flip side of that is also people could say, well, Floyd didn't know it was real because look how long he hung at the store, which I thought that was odd. He hung around that store for a while. That's how he got caught. That's how he was able to be apprehended. It's because he was still outside the store. Now we know that this guy said something about getting a computer worked on, and a girl was checking something about her phone. And then I thought I heard something about Floyd getting his phone worked on. But the weird thing about that is when the cop came to the car, they all were in the car together. So that leads me to wonder, what were they waiting on to still be all in the car to be approached by authorities?
Right.
Just something I don't know, man, it just rubs me the wrong way.
That's a very good point.
Everything, the store, the policy of the store, the alleged owner saying, hey, we don't call the police. You shouldn't have called the police. And then we got this boy who was told by his superiors, if you ever think the money's fake, don't take it, blah, blah, blah. It's like variants and different versions. So you don't even really know what to believe, what the policy actually is about taking counterfeit money.
Right. Or how they determine it was counterfeit.
Right.
And that's determined during that time. Yeah.
Right. Because if the owner's saying, I wasn't there, that somebody there running the store called the police, it's like, it's just something missing, because why would I waste my time on a damn fake ass bill? I mean, And then the fact that they were there in the store earlier, because that boy testified in court and said, Floyd is the same guy who was with that guy earlier. He didn't say 5 minutes ago. He didn't say 20 minutes ago. He said earlier. And he tore the money up and threw it on the ground when I approached him about that money. So what I have to ask myself, that's another thing that's crazy. Why are y'all back at the store? With it's very strange. And then there's a point in the video where it looks like he handed Floyd money in the store. Because you remember he says when the police comes over to his side of the car, oh, we're getting a ride with him. He brought us here. He's a friend of a friend. He's borrowing his car.
Right. I remember that conversation with the
Who's to say he didn't pay him with that money for here's money for giving us a ride to the store. Fake money. Because let's explain. The hype is that George is a user. So who's to say this guy says, oh man, I got this right here. This dude, he ain't gonna know. He geeked up, he high. I'll give him a fake ass 2010, whatever. Take us to the store.
Yeah, he was very nonchalant about it.
Because my mindset is of the street, because this is, to me, this is a street type drama. So I'm going to think like a street person. It says everybody wants to hype up that he's a user, this and that. So I'm going to play the role of a street person in this scenario. Dude getting high, he don't care. I'm going to give him a fake bill. He don't care. He don't care. He don't care. He geeky, he high, he uses, he don't give a damn. Here, give him a 10, 20, whatever. Boom, boom, boom. Doesn't matter. But the weird thing is that George Floyd looked bad is that he was with him earlier. And that same guy passed the fake money. And that's why a couple of weeks ago, when all this stuff started coming out in trial, people started insinuating that this guy is the one that gave Floyd the money. Now we know why, because the guy who worked that night is the one who said, hey, they were in here earlier. That'll lead people to think this dude possibly is the one who gave Floyd the fake money.
Right, exactly. Because Floyd said during the confrontation outside with the police, he didn't know what the hell the officer was talking about. While they were trying to assist him into the car, push him into the car, and not give him a chance. And that's a damn thing about the police versus a confrontation with the public. They do not take their time to truly investigate, properly, to communicate. They want to lay hands on, almost worse than some of the pastors in church. I want to put hands on people all the time, and the dialogue in a lot of the body cam video footage that we see shows us that communication is more physical than is verbal.
Parker, hold on a minute, John, I'm going to interrupt. Jessica Parker, you in the wrong playhouse, baby.
Yeah.
We're talking about everything that happened in the trial. We're talking about everything that happened in the trial. So you coming in late on a conversation, you don't even know what we're talking about. So you don't really need to be commenting because you don't know what we're talking about. We're talking about everything that happened in the trial. We're just breaking up what actually was testified in court. We're not talking about his air was cut off. We already know his damn air was cut off. So you coming in on something that you don't even know what we're talking about. Mildred says, I really don't believe George knew that the money was fake. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. Under the circumstances and out of how things quickly evolved, how would he know? How would he know? Why would somebody who had fake money stick around that long?
And that's where I had the problem. And that's what bothered me the most once I heard that guy say, hey, he was here earlier with this same guy. I kept telling myself, there's no way I would risk coming back to that store with this same guy with more fake money. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then this guy said, "Oh, I was getting my computer worked on." And then I thought I heard the girl say something about she was getting her phone worked on. And then I thought they said something about Floyd getting his phone worked on. So I thought, man, that's just too risky to be hanging around knowingly giving fake money.
I believe her name was Renee Gills. At the time. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like this was just too late because you start looking at the time clock and you start seeing from the time they go in, then they disappear around somewhere, probably wherever they were doing electronics or whatever. My mind was just telling me, man, what am I missing with this story? Because I just felt like something was off. It was just something off with this whole scenario with them going in the store and getting what they needed to get and hanging around. And my right mind was saying, well, if indeed Floyd knew that the money was fake, damn, would he really risk hanging around the store? That's what that's what bothered me when the young guy testified. I mean, that really bothered me because I was thinking, Lord, please tell me he would not just willingly hang around the store.
Right. And how Officer Blaine and Officer Hung, his partner, first responding officers, got to the scene. Where you actually see on the videotape surveillance footage of the body cam from the officer who tapped on the window with his flashlight, approached Floyd's driver's side, tapped on the window.
Yeah, what a gun!
Floyd for a few seconds, didn't know who was tapping on the window, opened the door, and then saw the officer and his gun drawn in his face.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit extreme.
Yeah, that was extreme. And I think that's where the point, I think that's exactly where the point of escalation in this case happened.
But see, but that's the crazy part though. As quick as he was, crying and telling them, hey, I can't believe this is happening. He got out, they put him on the wall. It was neutral at that point, remember?
Yes.
It was neutral. So what started out that looked like it could have jumped off, it neutralized itself. So that's why it's baffling when we go from going to the car with the gun, he gets out, he talks to them, explains what's going on. And it's like, how do we go from them saying, okay, well, sir, we're going to take you across the street. That man walked to his death. I mean, that was the most disturbing walk to know he think he's getting ready to go over here and talk. He said to him now, he says, hey, we're going to go walk across the street and talk about what happened in the store, but it never happened. Once he got to that SUV, that back door, first thing he says is, like, put your hands behind your back. So that's when George starts freaking out, like, no, wait. I got to tell you something. And he just flipped out from that point.
Right. Why didn't police do that to the passenger with the door open?
I don't understand that.
Why didn't police open up the side door to get the female out of the car in the same way? It was only approached from the driver's side rather than the passenger or the side door side. And I found that kind of strange too.
Okay, I want to know if the boy in the store told the police that, hey, they were here earlier, because if he ever said that, then the police was wrong for just letting that other guy and girl get a pass, or at least the guy get a pass. Because I would have been asking him. But see, that's what I don't know either. Did that guy, the one who rung up George, did he tell the police that, hey, they were also here earlier with fake money, and he threw it on the ground? You understand what I'm saying?
Right. So a lot was happening very quick. A lot seemed to be happening very quickly that began to escalate how the police moved, their behavior approaching George Floyd and his group.
Yeah.
And they looked at George Floyd being the biggest guy, so we've got to take down the big guys first.
That was so weak to use that, though. That was so weak, because in the end, the worst case scenario with George Floyd was just him whining and crying that he didn't want to get in that damn car. He didn't grab a taser. He didn't grab a gun. He didn't kick anybody. He didn't spit on nobody. He didn't grab anybody. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's not really much you can do with your hands behind your back.
Really?
This is not much you can do.
They had him in custody. That's
what I'm saying. So it's just a matter of him leaning up against that car and just whining and saying, hey, I want to get in there. Hey, I want to get in there. He's giving his reasons why he don't want to get in there. My thing was, You don't put somebody inside of a vehicle and don't have the damn doors locked.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't never heard of nothing like that before in my life.
Right.
I just ain't never heard of that before. I've never heard of anybody getting in a car, SUV, paddy wagon, and they have made their way out. I just say, I never heard of that.
Right. I would highly suggest, and thank you for inviting me on your platform. I didn't
Yes.
I didn't think you were going to call me
I don't
out.
like when people chat in the chat because it's easy to misconstrue a person's meaning. So,
Absolutely.
like when you start chatting, it may come across that you're being cynical or facetious, whatever. So it's to hype down anybody, start arguing. It's best when people come up on a panel and give their opinion, where people can hear you and understand what you mean.
Right. And I totally appreciate that because, texting is one thing and chatting is another. And if you don't have any kind of substance behind it, it could be, misconstrued to mean something else.
It does. Because we do it all the time. Because I didn't really understand where you were coming from at first. So I thought, was he trying to be a smart ass or what? I don't know. But that's why I'd rather you speak in your own words and people can hear you. Of course, I've learned that on this network, you can speak your own words and still be misconstrued. And it's just as vivid as what the video we saw with George Floyd.
Right.
Because people see what they want to see and they hear what they want to hear.
Mm-hmm. And that's based on perception and perspective. I agree.
Yes. Okay, let me ask you this. So, how much time you think he's going to get?
Oh, wow. Based on a full 3-count charge of guilty, they may come back with from the counts from second degree to third degree and manslaughter. You got 3 separate counts, all holding 3 separate time counts. That could be anywhere between 30 to 40 on a minimum to a 75, maybe even life. Maybe even life.
You think so? You think the judge will give it to him?
And that's at the judge's discretion, based upon his previous record, based upon complaints he's had during the course of his career. A number of factors have to be put into play in order to actually determine what kind of sentence the judge wants to give him. So right now, the way it stands,
40 years, I'll be disgusted. That's what Sweet One says.
Yeah, right now, the way it stands, it's officially a homicide. It's officially a homicide, which was carried out by another person. So you do have, the individual in custody. That individual happens to have been a cop with more than 15 years on the force. So there's a record there. So the judge has got many different parameters to really take a look at what kind of sentencing to give this officer, being that this is a historic case to where this judge is going to be looked at on a critical issue as to what he does give him in terms of sentencing.
Right. Seven to Life says he's going to get maybe 12 years at the most. He has a clean record besides this happening.
Right. Now, let me go back to my comment, which led me to come up here, because you did ask me to come up here because of a comment that I made stating that defense attorney Alan Dershowitz, I don't know if anybody remembers him from the O.J. Simpson trial.
You know this cat knows old Alan.
Yeah. And so he was on Fox News and several other media platforms stating that the defense attorney for Chauvin is definitely going to file an appeal after sentencing, and we'll take it to the appellate court. And there are 3 levels of the appellate that his case summary is going to go to, which will force it to go to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court in the past, and this is based on cases involving the Ku Klux Klan and old cases from, years ago have overturned um, the judge's ruling in a case like this, especially a heavy manslaughter case, only because of outside influences, which was brought up 3 times by the defense attorney during the trial.
Yes, it was.
Okay. He did mention Maxine Waters having an outside influence before
I mean,
the
one
jury
person.
was.
I don't understand that. One person. What does she have to do with the trial? She's no bearing on the trial. She's one person out of 10 billion people on the dirt commenting. Come on now, seriously.
Right. I agree. I agree. But that was before the jury was sequestered to deliberate. Before they went into deliberation, there was no sequester. They weren't sequestered. That means that they could talk to anybody. They could go on social media. They can watch the news to see how the news has picked up on this story. The 15 days that the trial had taken place, a lot of that goes into consideration. And even the judge himself stated to the defense attorney during that time, I think it was just yesterday, just before the case went into deliberation, that if that's all said and done, the jury should ignore any part of the news or any news whatsoever. And that was his advice, his direction to the jury. But they hadn't been sequestered. Now you take them into deliberation where they are sequestered. They have no outside connections, maybe no phones, no TV to deliberate. And now that outside influence has got to them to a point to where they came back so quickly to make the determination as to find a guilty verdict on all 3 counts. So Dershowitz states, and I suggest that anyone on YouTube or anywhere you can find his most recent, because he made statements today, 3 hours after everything was said and done, that the defense attorney will file an appeal, and that appeal will go through the appellate process and then most likely end up in the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court, and I use this word carefully, where the Supreme Court may overturn the conviction, may overturn the ruling.
Why you say that? Why though? Why would you say that?
And this is based on past cases from the 20s, 30s, and 50s.
Okay. Well, somebody is saying my mod is saying that the judge has a prejudice. She felt like he wanted to set him free. My other mod, Crystal, felt like he seemed happy. What is your opinion?
Say it again. I'm sorry.
One of my mods feels like that the judge has a prejudice against him. And then my other mod feels like the judge was in agreement to the finding. What do you think about the judge? Do you think the judge showed any type of emotion either way?
And that goes to well, now we're getting into bias. That will go to that may go to the Supreme Court under the appellate ruling. If they felt that the judge in any way, shape, or form was biased or there was an extreme prejudice during the course of the trial, how the judge handled the jury under sequestered and non-sequestered times. They could rule it in reverse. And that would piss off a lot of people. So this feels
certain things the judge did and said.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, I mean, if you went back to the O.J. Simpson trial, where I think it was Judge Alito, or how he handled that long trial, there were mistakes made. There was sidebars that were just taking too long amongst the attorneys. only to find that the glove didn't fit and they had to acquit.
I can't.
You know, and it just
It
seems
don't
like
fit. You must have quit.
yeah, if it doesn't fit, you must have quit. You know.
Johnny Cochran had that down, didn't he?
Yeah, because he knew how to relate to the people,
Yeah, Johnny
and
Cochran.
yeah, they gave OJ evidence he should have never had in his hands, which was the glove.
What do you think about that glove? Off subject, but
Yeah,
when he tried it on, Lord Jesus.
yeah, that was a comical moment. I mean, he couldn't even get his 3 fingers in there, to say that that was his glove, but over time when you've got a leather glove that's been saturated by blood, which shrinks and hardens and tightens and contracts to a point to where it's not the same shape as it was when it was brand new. They did the wrong thing by giving it to him so that he could show the jury.
They got a new George Floyd Justice and Policing Act passed by the I guess it was the Senate. I meant to read. I didn't want to interrupt you, but they just passed a bill. It's called passed the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. I'm watching NBC while I'm talking to you guys.
Yeah.
So you think the glove fit or it didn't?
No, it didn't appear to fit at all. I thought it was a kid's glove.
But somebody said something about it would shrink over time because it was bloody at the time when it was confiscated.
Yeah.
And maybe the moisture would have shrunk it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Over time because it dried naturally, of course, being thrown out.
It took them quite some time just to get the.
Oh man, here go Chick Benny. OJ's son did it. I can't. Oh Lord, Chick Benny, go to bed. Coming to my chat late talking about OJ's son did it. I ain't fooling with you.
Oh my God!
They allowed him to strip the court holding a glove with his dead wife's blood all over it. Well, sweet ones, the law is what they did. Oh. What if his murderer gets off and this is all for show to shut everyone down?
Right. I was just about to go there. I was just about to say today was, I just hope it's not a pacifier to all the people that's been following the case and want true justice. In this case, particularly, where, George Floyd lost his life because of it. And we're not pacified to believe that this case is over with, done and said.
Well, why would y'all think he would win an appeal? And then, if you get an appeal, that means you go back to trial again.
Yeah.
The 12 more members have to start the process all over again if the Supreme Court passes it.
That's correct.
They don't, man. Please don't. Just end this. Just end it. Just leave it alone.
Yeah. So the appeals process in a time sequence could take, going from the sentencing, which will take place in 8 weeks. So that puts us a month and a half into the summer.
Yeah.
And then the 3 levels of.
If you win that would be horrible. Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah. The judge will come back and sentence, and then they'll file an appeal. Appeal will take anywhere between 30 to 45 days to get processed and whatnot. And then that process will begin. That could take about a year, maybe a year and a half before it may get to the Supreme Court. So it's like a long time delay. We'll be moving on to other cases and other situations. This story will fade from our minds, and we'll forget all about it until they turn around and surprise us later. Who knows?
Well, I hope not. I hope it just rests. I hope that if they do appeal, I just pray that said judges say no, we're just gonna let it rest, and because I think it would be the inevitable. It'd be no different than if they'd found him not guilty today. It would be hell on wheels.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
I think that's why I say that either way, whether it was he was found not guilty yesterday, or later down the road, Supreme Court overturns whatever, however it goes, boom, be back at the same place. It just be later, not sooner.
Yeah. And we would have what we had last year about this time now, 20 times the power.
Yeah. Oh, 20 times. Oh, yeah. It'd be off the chain. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
Yeah.
Oh, listen to Crystal. My guards are still up. I'll trust it when I hear he's in cell with Big Bubba. He's so damn crazy. Him don't want Big Bubba. Ooh, I don't think he gonna make it. I'm just gonna be truthful.
Yeah, maybe he'll do an Epstein.
That's only so much hiding and shelf and putting them to the side, and baby, all it takes is one guard turn a blind eye. That's it.
Yeah.
It's a wrap.
Yeah, because no one in prison likes, cops, especially cops that they feel has a prejudice against who they are, as a person.
Someone in the chat asked, "What do you think will happen to the officer that killed Dante Wright?"
Now that may follow the same suit. I watched that video surveillance footage and how that was written up. There's no way, an officer after 10 years of service is going to mistake a taser for a service firearm.
Oh, but they say it happens because I was reading about that the other day. It has happened.
Yeah.
They show statistics of those who reach for the alleged taser, and it was the weapon, service weapon.
Yeah. And I was just telling my daughter and a good friend of mine this afternoon. We're on the phone just right after the verdict, and we're going back and forth. And a lot of these police today, more so in the last 15 to 20 years than ever before, are out there, trying to do a job under tremendous mental stress. The training that they have to go through, the uniform they have to wear, the equipment they have to carry with them, the cars they drive, the computer technology they have to remember, the emergency stuff they've been trained by, the CPR, the medical, all this stuff is inundated these cops today, where they are mentally off balance from really doing the job that they were assigned to do it. Just in my opinion.
I just think they're not really happy people. I mean, you see it every day with people. I've said this the other day about just jobs in general, people in general. There's just really a lot of unhappy people. And it doesn't matter what the job is, whether it's a cop, it's public service, it's sales. There's just a lot of people who go to work. They are miserable beings. They wake up, they're mad. They at the job, they're mad. You understand what I'm saying? They're mad, period. It wouldn't matter if they were a cop or a nurse. They're just angry.
Yeah, it does take a conditioning effect after a while. They say if you do something once and it's brand new, it feels kind of awkward. But if you continue to do it over time, it becomes second nature.
Who's in movies? Who are you talking about, Karen? Who are you talking about? This guy here, John Q? What are you talking about? God, y'all talk so much in the chat.
Oh, she thinks my name, John Q, was.
I don't know. Sweet one, I'm grumpy, not angry. Well, if somebody knows you well, they'll say they ain't gonna say you grumpy. They'll say your ass is angry because that's what people say. They don't say people are grumpy. They say use the word grumpy for old people. You're not old, are you? I'm just saying.
No, not at all.
People say that.
Not at all.
Well, like doctors and nurses, they're probably just asleep.
Yeah, there's some folks in your chat that know I have, my own channel, and I do my own thing covering the.
I think his wife divorced him. What the hell are y'all talking about?
Really?
I hate when y'all do this, man. John.
Yeah, well, they're trying to entertain us.
Oh Lord, Jesus.
They're trying to entertain us right now.
This is why my chat does this every live. Never stays on the topic.
Well, that's good. You got some spice in your chat room.
It ain't no spice. It ain't no spice because I'm telling you, you have people who are vulnerable and they fall in, and then before you know it, you're not even talking about what you're talking about, and it doesn't make any sense what you're reading because you don't know what they're talking about. So then you got to go in and now talk to a typer to ask him or her, "What are you talking about?" Then you have to wait on a response. Chauvin's wife. What about Chauvin's wife? See, look at Chick Benny. So you're single? Oh, okay, I'm thinking.
Yeah, now we turned into a dating club all of a sudden.
Oh Jesus. What about Chauvin's wife? I'm lost now. I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. I was talking about he had no family in court. Right, Crystal. We said that. Okay. John, what do you think about that? There was nobody, no kiss, no hug. Daddy, I love you, mommy, daddy, sister, cousin. Don't you find that strange?
Yeah, I do. I certainly.
They're saying think Chauvin was divorced. Well, yeah, probably by now he is divorced. Remember when all this jumped off, that lady had left him. When all this stuff hit the fan, she left him. And then too,
Yeah.
they owe back taxes. That white boy ain't paid no taxes in years. He was making a plus $100,000 doing security work. He ain't paid a tax on that salary.
I think she left him at the time that the event had happened, and the protesters were showing up at the house.
Yeah, she left him shortly after when the crime happened. She did. It wasn't long.
Yeah.
What are you talking? What? Chauvin wife left him. Chauvin, I'm dead. Oh my God, I can't. I just, oh my God, my brain hurts. I mean, how not? What? They're talking about the cop Derek. I don't know who the hell you're talking about. You type so much. I got a platform to bring you up here to speak. All y'all like to do is type. All you do is type all the time. Hit the link and let us hear what you're saying.
Yeah, because that would be the only way you can make your point, clear.
Yeah, because you want somebody to understand what you're saying in a damn text. And then some of you don't speak correct English. You chop up the words. And you want me to understand what you're saying. When there's 50,000 of you speaking and talking, then there's a guest on the panel speaking. I'm supposed to damn understand what you're saying. Queen, we don't mean to confuse you. Well, that's why you're supposed to hit the link and come up on the panel and say what you have to say instead of typing. Though that's his new name, Chauvin. Okay. Oh.
Yeah, once he gets where he's going tonight, it'll be Chauvin.
Well, look at let me hear you something that Mildred says. It was an unknown lady there for Derek around the end of part of his trial. Was it? Did you see somebody, John?
No, all I saw was they put the cuffs on him and walked him out by himself.
No. She's saying somewhere near the end of the trial. Did you notice a lady there as like a support?
I didn't notice
that. Oh, you didn't notice that? Okay. Thanks, Mildred. We'll go back and recap because I'll go back and try to recap yesterday's trial because I was busy at the time. He probably won't last in jail. What do you think about that, John?
Yeah, no, that's not his environment. It's like a fish out of water.
Is it?
That wouldn't be his environment to be the one behind the bars and not outside the bars. Yeah.
Jesus, okay. I don't think so. I think it was the chick attorney for the defense. Oh, okay. Yeah, him gonna be real lonely where him going. He got a lot of time to sit there and think about, damn, man, I should have just shut the door and took him down to headquarters. Be the end of that. Oh, look at Air Force. Somebody, Kelly Chauvin did file divorce papers for her husband. Okay, Air Force One. Air Force, you ain't been up here to get your commentary. I'm 2 hours and 18 minutes in, running over time. Oh, Jesus, this is too much. Derica Chauvin. Okay, you know what? Okay.
Yeah, Crystal Moore's on a roll tonight.
Oh, yeah, that's my mod. He has a younger sister. Maybe it was her, Plum Peters. I don't know. I just think it's sad that they put the cuffs on him. Do you know that one instance, and I've seen this with criminals, and I've done this with them, that somehow I can, for a brief moment, separate him from the crime. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Because the scripture says that, because that's what God does with us. He separates us from the sin. He don't hate us. He don't like what we did.
What we do, correct.
What we do, right. So for a brief moment, when they had him put his hands behind his back, I, for a brief moment, saw just Chauvin as a person who fucked up. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh
And
yeah.
now it's getting ready to go pay the piper. But my other half says he did that to himself because it didn't have to go down like this. Doesn't have to go
Yeah.
down like this. Yes. Yes, he is still a human. Yes, he is. But it just still seems to me, even all the way from all that happened during that event being filmed, bailing out, trial now, you never even once engaged even with the jury. You never engaged with the people who testified. And they talked about that for days. Like, this guy, he won't even give eye contact.
Yeah, he was very dissociative.
Yes,
He was very
yes.
dissociative
It's crazy.
at
It's like,
the trial and everything.
yes.
Too busy writing, looking
Yeah.
down.
I don't think he was writing anything, John. I'm gonna tell you that. I don't think Chauvin was writing a damn thing on that paper.
Yeah.
I
And
think that's what he did, because that's what we do when we're nervous, you know? We pretend
Yeah.
we're busy. Have you ever seen that? Well, we're in an uncomfortable situation. We try to make ourselves seem like we're looking at our purse, our wallet, our pockets. We're looking down, we're looking over here because we don't got nothing else to do because we're in an awkward situation. I think that's what he did. He had paper, pen, doodle, doodle, doodle. I thought to myself, dude, you need to be looking at that jury. You need to kind of engage, not be, hee, ha, ha, but give a little pleasant smile, a little nod. Act like you damn care.
Yeah, his body language and
Like you care.
physiology. His body language and physiology during the trial was very disassociated from the jurors, from the witnesses that were
Yeah.
being questioned, both by his attorney and the prosecution. And at the same time, did you see how bug-eyed he was when the verdict was being
Yeah,
read?
I got a recap up here on the news, and I was looking like, this is the most your eyes ever moved.
Yeah.
During the trial. He didn't show that emotion like, you know how some people weep or moan when the verdict is read. He didn't do that like, no, you made a mistake. It was like, come on now, come on, really? Wait a minute. It's almost like he was stuck. Like kind of like when you're in a coma, your eyes are open, but you can't speak. That's what I felt at that moment.
Yeah. And to see him walking out of the out of court with the handcuffs on and everything. Yeah, it definitely gave the appearance that hey, he was a regular one of us.
He was a guy. He was a guy, but he made a fatal decision. Somebody said, I felt sorry for him. Then that feeling turned into satisfaction. That's Chick Benny. Yes, sweet one. He did control the entire situation with G. Floyd, everyone around him. Can you imagine what he was like to live with? He probably wasn't a great guy. That's why I said he probably was a nasty guy, mean guy. He probably, as my mother used to say growing up, you smelling your own funk. He probably was that type of guy. Whatever he said went. He was that guy. He was self-entitled, probably had a very cocky attitude. And that's something else we didn't discuss in this live too. Dude, you didn't know George Floyd, right?
Right. You saw an alpha male turn into melted butter. That's what I saw.
Yeah. Well, and you have a lot of cops like that, though.
Yeah. Yeah. And to go back to a little bit of what you and I were discussing.
Oh my God,
about mental health. These cops need to be evaluated at least 4 times a year.
Often, yeah. Yes.
4 times a year. Every season, whether it be spring, summer, or fall, they need to be mentally evaluated for the stress load that they carry on their jobs.
Yes.
And if there's any kind of reform that needs to take place, that would be absolutely, positively number 1 on the docket. They need to be evaluated because of the stressful situations that they're put in, especially if their lives are being threatened and they have the equipment to, of course, defend themselves. And for these reactive cops who draw their guns, go into the me mode, I would like to call it, to protect me first and then the public second, when it's supposed to be the other way around. A psychological evaluation for every police officer, I don't care if you're a desk officer, after time, you become conditioned to the thing that you're doing. people become conditioned psychologically, emotionally, socially to the thing that they're doing. Now, they could be spending a regular 8 hours work, 40 hours a week, overtime, double time, holidays. Some of these officers are in broken relationships and their marriages. A lot of contributing factors have to be identified to make sure that these officers are in their right state of mind when they're out, servicing the public.
Yeah.
That's just
Well,
my
but
opinion.
you hear this all the time, though.
Yeah.
You hear this all the time, and I say this so often because like I said, my line of work is healthcare. So you see people in this line of work, sales, every line of work, people are not cut out for the things that they do. If people could only just acknowledge, this ain't me. I ain't good at what I'm doing. You understand what I'm saying? You'll be happier if you acknowledge that you're not the guy that should be selling cable for AT&T, Xfinity. You're not the guy that should be answering the phone when somebody calls and says their damn refrigerator don't work. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yep.
You're not the lady that should be selling me earrings or shoes because your ass is grumpy. You're cranky all the time. You got damn baby daddy dramas, all this. You bring your problems to work. See, that's what people don't understand. Your work can cause you misery. Your personal life can cause you misery. When you combine those two, you are a loaded weapon, whether you are a cop or not. You are a walking disaster.
Yeah.
And see, I was the type of person, and I'm still that same type. I never take my problems to work with me. It doesn't matter how angry I was before I got to the job, whatever happened the night before. I don't take that to my job. I can't afford to take it with me. But there's lots of people who can't. What I'd do if I wasn't feeling well, I got to the job, I would probably be less talkative. You understand what I'm saying? I just don't have much to say. But I'm not going to start cussing people out, pushing people around, bullying people, going off, chanting in the corner, all that type of crazy nonsense. There's other people, they can't hold it. So as they walk in, they're slamming shit down. They're mad. They're beating the walls. They're cussing. They're mumbling. They're doing stuff. They answering the phone. What? Yes. Okay. Fine. Sure. Okay. Well, hit, crazy stuff.
Right.
Crazy stuff.
I agree.
And
in a high stressful job like that, when you can take a look at the components of it, the high stressful job that they have, they begin to suppress and compartmentalize their personalities and their identity as well.
Yeah. Okay. Crystal says, does he have to stay in there with the appeals or sentence, or can he get out? He's in prison, Crystal. He can't just get out. He's in prison. It doesn't work like going to jail with a bond, baby. The bond process, all that's over. That's all that's revoked and everything. He has a sentence now, baby. Unless the judge decides to set a bond.
Right, and Lola says the correct words. We're all human, and that is where we all live. And human nature dictates exactly, exactly what human nature is going to dictate.
Yes.
We're all made of the same stuff. We're all really connected in a different way. Spiritually, we are all connected. Physically, we're different. And the dichotomy between the two is what we're having war with. You're a different color. You're a different race. You speak a different language. We're all in a dichotomy motion of division, more so than anything to where we all stand as one, to where we all understand that we are one.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Chauvin right now. His eyes, it's obvious. He was stunned. I'm looking at him right now on MSNBC. He was stunned at the verdict. His eyes just going round and round like, I can't believe they just did this to me.
Yeah, it's totally bug-eyed. Are you talking to me? Is this happening to me?
Right.
Am I the one being sentenced to go to jail for the rest of my? Yeah. He came to a realization
I'm
that
looking at him now. He look, somebody's saying it right here in quotes. You can believe your eyes. Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. He never had any emotion during this trial, but you could see when they was reading the verdict, you could see his eyes shifting back and forth, back and forth. He is stunned. Like, I know these folks didn't just find me guilty of killing this
Mhm.
black man, but yes, they did. Yeah,
Yeah,
he wasn't shocked. Yeah, because he wasn't expecting it. He figured there'd be somebody on there that would show favor to him.
right. Because he was amongst his own people,
Right.
the
But see,
legal
that's what he should
system.
have. But that's what he should have thought of with George Floyd, that he was a person as well, and it didn't have to go down like that. That's and even the judge. I mean, even the lawyer, his lawyer, making it seem like that was appropriate protocol. Those people testified. His own superiors testified. This is not what we do.
Yeah.
So there's
And
no way you can say that in your deposition that yes, what he did was appropriate. When they have testified and said no, we don't do this.
right, right. It was against policy, and he knew it was against policy. And his major mistake was being on George Floyd's
Yes,
neck way
yes,
too long
yes,
than he
indeed.
should without checking him for pulse or any kind of response, physical response, because of what he was doing.
Right. Well, that's why I know it was intentional. Because let me tell you something. What did it for me, besides them throwing him on the gurney, when they showed the pictures of him inside of the ambulance,
Yeah,
I blanked out because that shoulder was purple and it showed the force that you use kneeing him to where his arm was that bruised. And the blood dried under the nose. That's how long he lied there on the ground. So everything his body took form to showed the severity and the timeline of you kneeling on him as long as you did, to where blood had literally dried on his nose. They got the pictures. Think about it. 9
yeah,
minutes, your nose started to bleed, and then it just bubbles up and it dried there. Then the
right.
shoulder was literally purple. That's
Yeah,
from the force of you're putting your weight. So you were leaning at him deliberately. So that's why you can't even say that you didn't do it on purpose, because there's no way that shoulder should have been purple. It's just crazy. That's why I
yeah,
said I'm glad to see all that. It disturbed me, it hurt me, but it showed you did this on purpose, because there's just no way taking somebody down to the ground, their body should be this battered, knuckle scraped, all that. Man, come on now.
yeah. When officer I think his name is Hung, Hueng, is how his name is spelt. When he went into the ambulance to try to assist
I saw that part. Yeah,
EMS.
that was a joke.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a joke. I mean, that was
I
so
mean,
disrespectful.
he was gone before they pulled off.
Right. Because it was
Yes.
kind of like, I'm throwing out this nasty fish, whatever, throwing it. You know how you throw away stuff, don't look at it, throw it in the bin?
Yeah,
You look when you throw the trash out.
yeah,
You just throw it in there. Ooh, it's nasty. Ooh, smells. Ooh, wet. You get my drift? That's how it
yeah,
was when he handed him off in that ambulance.
yeah. Because to choke someone out, whether it be your hands, an elbow, a knee,
Yeah,
any physical limb, to choke
yeah,
someone out doesn't take
yeah,
that long to do.
yeah. Well, let me
Especially,
tell you something.
yeah,
When I counted the clock, it was under 5 minutes when he stopped moving. All I thought back to was Camille McKinney, that case I worked on. And I did a lot of Googling around that time when the child was found, in the dumpster. And a lot of, doctors gave their comment, about suffocation, asphyxiation. And one
yeah,
of the things I read was that drowning is the worst death. Now, why doctors say this, I don't know, because no one's ever come back to say, hey, I drowned, now I'm living. But they're saying that the weight of the chest is so heavy and excruciating that it is the worst death than being asphyxiated. Now, one would look and say, why the hell would you know that? Because like I said, nobody's come back to testify to say, hey, I drowned and now I'm back. Hey, that was a horrible death. You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
But that's what the doctors speculate, is that is the worst death, actually being suffocated by a human or being choked. Is to drown. Drowning is worse. And suffocation, 4 minutes total. That
yeah,
you can hang on to life by being suffocated. So when I think back to all of that information I got when I was covering the Camille McKinney case, I thought of George Floyd. When I counted that clock and I realized he stopped moving probably around 4:30 something on that clock. All that came rushing back to me of these people suffocating the kids. You understand what I'm saying? And I just tell myself, either way, whether you're being choked, suffocated, knee to the neck, drowning, it's all the same to me. I ain't trying to go neither way. I don't want to. And I don't ever want to find out. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to find out what it's like to be suffocated. I don't want to be choked. I don't want to be strangled. I don't want to be knee to the neck. I don't want to drown.
When you take a look at how the three officers had Floyd down on the ground, it was a semi prone position where they should have had him in a recovery position on his side. They had him more so on his chest.
Yeah, and that's why the other, the ME and everyone was saying, there's no way this man's going to get any air, because that's how are you going to breathe like that? Your face is to the ground. I mean, it's just common sense. How are you going to get any air?
Right.
And that's why it felt like it was intentional. Sweet One said he made sure he was dead. Yeah, that's how I felt.
Yeah, I think Chauvin's his predominant intention, just from what I saw from the video surveillance footage, was to intentionally choke him out.
Yeah,
so
that's
that
what I
he
thought
would
too.
so that he would stop resisting, and then they could handle him properly. I think.
But while you're doing that, you're killing the person. How could you not think that?
Right. And he took that chance. He did take that chance.
Yeah, because my thing was, in the end, you are the one that's in control of the situation. It doesn't matter if it was George Floyd or Pookie, Ray. You are the one in control. You and your other officers. You were supposed to be trained on how to subdue a person. When you all made the sound decision to walk him to the car, you were supposed to make sure that the other door was locked. So as when you were trying to push him in and sit him in there comfortably, because he was a big guy, that he got in there comfortable and made his way to the jail. That should have been the end of the story.
Yeah.
That should have been the end of the story. But it wasn't.
Yeah, they appeared to be more in a rush to get him in there than to take their time to try to explain why they're putting him in the car,
right?
Why they have him in the car,
right?
What was this arrest all about? Let's check out the story, up until we get you clear.
Yeah.
And then once you get clear, we'll take the cuffs off. We'll just take down your name, and if we need to follow up with you, we know where you live. And none of that was done. None of that was done. It was more in a hurry. Let's go. Yeah. You're under arrest, for forgery. And the man didn't even know what the hell he was talking about.
Okay. Here's Honey Hush, and then I'm going to check out of here. Honey says, here's what confused me. If he was already dead, how was the doctors able to testify on his vitals and O2? Hello?
Yeah. Are you? Oh, you were talking to me? I thought you were.
I was reading Honey Hush's comment.
Oh, okay.
And how was the doctors able to testify on his vitals and oxygen level?
Well, that all depends on how quickly they were able to, once they got him off location to the hospital. It all depends on how long before rigor mortis or any one of the mortises starts to kick in. How long the blood flow, heart rate, brain frequency. I mean, they try to determine cause of death.
I think, like I just said, he probably could have lived had someone administered help at some point.
Yeah, at some point.
That's the thing, that once oxygen is cut off to the brain, it's a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, I agree.
Time is ticking down. So we don't really know the minute when oxygen things started shutting down, organs started shutting down, because I don't know if they ever told that during the trial.
Well, it did say medically that if a person is asphyxiated, whether it be positional asphyxiation or being choked out or anything else like that. The brain does have about 8 to 10 minutes before the brain frequencies start
Okay.
to die out. The blood stop circulating. The heart obviously is stopped and everything else like that, and then it goes into a cold state. So
Okay.
I would say it took more than 10 minutes from the time that they tried to use CPR in that ambulance up until the time they pulled out, got him to the hospital, and then assessed him as to the cause of death. It took more than 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes.
So let me ask you this. So at what minute do you think he was totally just gone? There was no help.
That was before they left.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're talking about 9 minutes. So that was a long time. He had been stopped moving under 5.
Yeah. Right. I mean, he was totally unresponsive to mechanical CPR that they tried to use inside the ambulance. Adrenaline, which, obviously, they have that equipment on board the emergency vehicle to try to, get his heart, jumpstart his heart. So they were using everything in their power to try to revive him before they left, but he was still unresponsive.
Right. Someone said up here about who thinks he's going to trip in his cell, hit his head, and drown in the toilet. Oh my God, y'all are crazy. And he's punching air too. I'm sure he is tripping in his cell. Like, damn, I did this to myself.
Yeah,
I could be free.
So we still have some time on this case to take a look at how they follow up, how the appeal process goes. If this damn thing is going to come back on us,
I hope it's nothing. That's why I'm not going to focus negatively, because we need to move onward, and that would just be going backwards if he gets an appeal. And I agree. I can only imagine how bad it would be. As I state, it would be no different if somebody had found him not guilty yesterday. It would be the same thing. It would be the same thing.
Yeah, we have a lot of work to do in this regard, but for the folks that were there during the time of the arrest, who captured the incident on video cameras and things of that nature, we just have to stay vigilant. Whenever the police are around,
that's going to fall into place too. About the charge about children being underage that witnessed the crime. That's also going to be a factor in the sentencing, because I just read that in my article. So, that same crowd that his attorney was trying to act like, it was the environment and this, that, and the other. Now that's going to come into play as far as his sentencing, because there was a 9-year-old child and a 17-year-old underage there.
Yes, and for them to have seen what they saw,
right?
Obviously there's going to be some psychological, work that's going to be done, with them growing up into an area where there's going to be police around, and the fear factor is always going to be a part of their life. Yeah.
I just thank God I was not somebody who witnessed that, because just seeing it on TV is enough. You know what I'm saying? It's just hard to see in real time a person walking around the store, interacting with people in the store, the people following into the car, police showing up, then other officers show up, then they walk them over to the car, and then that's when all hell broke loose. That's just a hard thing to watch.
Yeah. Well, as the prosecution attorney Blackwell had came on to rebut the defense's statements, he ought to have known better to do better. And in order for him to know better to do better, this may be the main example for them all to know better to do better going forward.
Well, because they sat there and adamantly said, we don't do this.
Yeah.
We don't condone this. This isn't protocol. This is what we were taught. This isn't what we enact when we're in the field.
Yeah. So whoever writes their training manuals and their policies and everything else like that, it's more militarized than it is a tool of communication. and I believe that this has been going on for so many years that, it's become a natural thing for us to see.
Yeah.
The cops used to walk around the neighborhoods. They got to know who you were,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you
Totally
lived,
different now.
what school you were, where you worked, and kind of whatever have you.
Yeah.
And now, they've become so militarized, so detached from that public.
Well,
That we don't know where we're under martial law anytime the police are called.
well, I think a lot of them are not joining the force for the right reasons, just like they were saying on the news that some of the people were not wanting to be on the jury for the right reason. It was a self issue, trying to, maybe get 5 minutes of fame or write a book or find a person guilty or not guilty. I think with the police officers, it's the same way. You've learned this from many people who were deemed men, specifically, who were deemed sociopaths. They all wanted to be in security work. If you ever heard that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
People who have been diagnosed with being sociopaths, they always wanted to be in a position of authority. They always wanted to be a cop. They couldn't become a cop. They couldn't pass the test. So next best thing was a security officer. They have to show authority. And I see a lot of people like that they want to be known for something.
Right.
They want to be recognized for something. And I think a lot of people become cops for that reason. They want an identity.
Mm-hmm.
They want an identity. They want to
I would agree with that.
Important. I want people to look at me and say, I'm doing something. I am to be revered.
Yeah, and that goes back to the alpha male, alpha ego complex that a lot of them develop.
Right. But whoa, look at the price now. Okay, before I check out of here, do you think he will be able to survive in prison now?
I guess we'll have to see what happens. With all this now, on the table, and
you think he'll take the easy way out?
A lot of people are somewhat relieved that he was convicted.
Yes.
Now that they have him in custody, we just hope that he doesn't do an Epstein on people.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. Epstein. I can think of his name. Yes, Epstein, because controversial. All the conspiracies that they did this to him, they did this, they killed him. Okay, does Chauvin strike you as a person who would kill himself?
If he was man enough to take someone else's life, the situation that he finds himself in today, he may be just man enough to close the book on himself as well.
Yeah, right. Why wait? Why wait for the sentencing?
Right.
Why wait? Because I ain't trying to go in there no way.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't expecting to be found guilty.
Yeah, sort of like what the old Japanese samurai used to do. When they were dishonored, they committed seppuku.
Sweet One says narcissists don't commit suicide. You agree with that?
I don't know about that one.
I don't either. Yeah, there have been many narcissists who killed themselves. I think I can think of a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the one that raped the girl, kidnapped the girls in Ohio, held them in the house. I wouldn't doubt that he was diagnosed a narcissist, psychopath. Yeah. I thank you for joining me, John Q.
Yeah, I thank you for inviting me and calling me out and said, let me see if this is a weirdo.
I treat y'all all the same. Y'all be down there in that chat. I'm going to tell y'all better hit that link.
Yeah, no, because I've been with you for at least 3, going on 4 months. I've been listening to you cover the West case, and I've been in your chat room and listened to you cover a lot of great information and whatnot. And then you call me out.
You have legal background. You work in the legal field, John Q?
Let's just say I used to work in a legal capacity. I was a HUD housing counselor here in New York.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait, great.
Well, and we used to do settlement. Yeah, we used to do settlement conferences at the county courthouse to try to help people who were going through the foreclosure process, try to keep their homes by getting workouts with their lenders. So I was around a
Okay.
lot of attorneys and whatnot. So
Okay, well, thank you. That's a noble profession because everybody needs a place to sleep.
yes, they do.
Everybody
They
needs a place
do.
to sleep. Well, I
But
pray that everything settles down, but I know in this world it probably won't because, as they said tonight, some young girl just got shot in Ohio. So I'll have to go dig in there and just see what I can find about that. But of course, you know about the case here in Knoxville about the young boy at the high school who had the gun, and he and the officers had some type of altercation in the restroom. Do you know
oh
about
wow,
that?
okay. This
And they
just
shot
happened
him
today,
early in the week, 12th,
early in the week.
last
Okay.
week, 12th. Yeah, yeah. So there, the FBI had to retract their statement about the bullet that hit the officer because their first statement was that he shot at them first. They returned fire. Now the FBI had to retract a day or two later, saying the bullet that was found in the cop's leg didn't belong to the boy's gun. Now the mother is upset because she's the one that called the police on him because he and her daughter had an altercation. They were dating. She checked out of school early. So we have to ask ourselves, why was he on the campus with a gun? Why did anyone detect the gun? Do they not have those little wands and the little things you go through? Why was he in the school with the gun in the first place?
Right. How did he get the gun in the school? Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because there were different street versions of what allegedly happened. You know, Pookie called Pookie because something went down, and allegedly he was called, but now there's a different version. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
always a different version.
Right.
And I
Right.
tell people,
Wow.
I don't listen to street version, so I ain't getting ready to repeat that as the spoken word. I'm
Right.
not gonna, repeat this,
But I
yes.
but I thank you so much for having me up. And now that
Anytime,
I've gotten a chance to,
anytime.
I've gotten finally a chance to speak with you directly
Yes,
on some substance that affects us all, especially
yes.
from today. Uh, I wanted to thank you and your chat for
Thank
being for having me on.
Thank you so much. This is John Q, everybody. Thanks, John.
Yes, you're welcome
Okay.
anytime.
I'll talk to
Much
you
love
later.
to you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right.
That was John Q, you guys, Mr. New York. I'm going to check out of here because I'm approaching 3 hours. This was a long live, but I thank him for joining. I didn't mean to be rude. You know how I come across sometimes when I see y'all texting. I don't really be understanding who's saying what and what's their intent is. That's why I was asking you to come up, hit the link. That way I can understand you better. But I thank him for coming on. Yes, no more bad news. I can't take it myself. I don't know. Honey Hush, what is she talking about? Who he passed away? Oh, who passed away? Oh Lord, I don't know. See, I come in, I don't know what y'all talking about. Thank you for the mods that joined me this evening. Thank you all for joining us. Amen. The justice was served in the murder of George Floyd by Derek Chauvin. It's a very disturbing case. And there will be more. And there has been more. And that's the sad thing about this life. So I will pray that no one will find their way to the ground, knee to the neck like George Floyd, because that was a terrible way to leave here. Just an awful way to leave here. And I want to thank you. Okay, thank you, Miss Gypsy. Thank you so much. Thank you, Air Force. I will try to come back. Mods and pilgrims. Yes, that's my favorite word, pilgrims. Yes. Thank you all. Honey, pray for the Queen. The Queen been so tired. She's been doing so much stuff. She's in transition right now, so she's just been busy, busy, busy. But I thank you all so much for the views and the likes and the sharing. I will try to bring you more content to where it's just me out and about. I usually don't show content with me just out and about. But anyway, I just did that today because I had to go back out to where I was. And I said, let me make this video for Crystal because she'll get to see the water and everything and see the boats docked and everything. I'm telling you where I was today, where I was the other day with Buck. It's just such a beautiful place. I mean, it's just breathtaking up there. And I'm just like, man, just to be alive and see this is what life is about. Not all this foolishness in the world, not the ugly things you hear and see on social media, YT, all that. That ain't life. That ain't life. That ain't never been life. And that's why I've been zoned out from any foolishness because, like I said, where I was yesterday and the day before, that's life. That's real. People with real lives going about their business, trying to survive and maintain. and people just trying to make a way for themselves. And I'm telling you, standing up there with that view, I had, once again, a time to reflect that a lot of folks ain't living and they don't really know what life is all about. They have no earthly idea what life is about. And when you can stand up there and see the water like that and the view of the mountains, I've gotten closer to the mountains now, where I am, and it's whirlwind. I can't even explain it to you. This stuff here, it don't mean nothing. The crazy nonsense means nothing, because there's just too much going on in the world. And there comes a time when you have to reflect and realize that, some of the stuff I might be looking at, talking about, indulging in, it ain't hitting on nothing, and it ain't important. Living a full life, being humble and grateful, is more important than any foolishness or nonsense. Prayers to George Floyd's family, children. Prayers to all of you in the chat. Thank you, my mods. God bless all of you. Thank you, Mr. John Q, for joining me. I will be back with more updates pertaining to information that I've brought you and updates to stories. Once again, I still want to bring you information about Camille McKinney. I want to try to do that tomorrow if I can, because I've got a long day tomorrow. I don't know if I'll have the strength when the evening comes to go live, but I want to hurry up and knock that story out and backtrack, because I'm praying that eventually that story will get a court date soon as well. So I will. Oh, thank you, John. Thank you so much. I will be bringing you more information. As you see, there's more foolishness and mayhem, but know that every breaking story that happens on the news, I will not talk about it. It's not to be rude, but I can't cover every story. And then I like to pick and choose what I will talk about. And frankly, I just don't like indulging in the same type of stories all the time, especially when it's dealing with African-American people. It's just who I am. I don't like just talking about those stories all the time. I may give an opinion here and there in the chat, but I don't like focusing on the same stories of brutality against Black people. I just don't like it. And the George Floyd really did it for me. So there's a reason why I don't like talking about those kind of stories every day. But I thank you all for joining me. Pray for our children, because right now we have a lot of foolishness going on with the kids too. People hurting their children, harming children. I don't know what's going on with people. People are just ugly right now, vile. And all you can do is pray for them. Pray they find their way. Like, share, subscribe. Hit the community post with your commentary. This is Everyday Shenanigans, and thanks for joining me. You all be safe, and I will be back a little bit later in the week with another video. God bless all of you. Stay safe. Amen. Justice came home. Rest easy, George Floyd. Rest easy.